with your pants?
I just wore the same jeans that I wore to work yesterday instead of changing into some sweatpants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, should have gone comfortable.
That's just a long time to be sitting in a hot theater.
I agree.
How good's Adrian Brody in the film?
Oh, he's fantastic. It's just a 4-hour movie. You got to commit to it.
Yeah.
Our friends at Champy's bringing our final thoughts today. Highway 119 in Alabaster. Perfect food for lunch today, dinner tonight. Maybe it's date night for you guys. Champy's Chicken if you're in the area. Great atmosphere. Sterling, make sure of that. The chicken is cooked overnight, brined overnight, I should say, and cooked to order when you come in. All the great sides in the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. The final thoughts before we do the NFL. The Braves pick up Jurickson Profar, who was an all-star last year, but he had a career year, 280 hitter, 24 home runs, 85 RBIs. He's going to be in the outfield with Michael Harris and Ronald Acuna. They paid 3 years, $42 million. It always worries me when you pick somebody up coming off of a career year.
Yeah, I mean, you feel like you...
Because he's played with Texas and Colorado and somebody else.
And he is 31. I mean, for whatever that means. So he's been doing it for a long time. I mean, he's been in the league for 12 years.
I'll tell you one where it worked. Do you remember Daniel Murphy? You remember that name?
Oh, yeah.
You know, Daniel Murphy had that massive World Series for the Mets.
Mets, yeah.
It was really the whole postseason. I think he was red hot for the Mets, and the Nationals bought him and played him at second, obviously, and he was really good for the Nationals. That was one of those where you're like, boy, you're buying a bill of goods on the World Series, but he actually delivered for the Nationals.
Yeah, but this is a career 245 hitter.
That's right. So that scares me if you're a Braves fan, but a lot of you are, and I know you probably think it's a great pickup. Brandon Miller, the former Alabama star, is out the rest of the season, tore a ligament in his wrist this week. He was averaging 21 points a game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists for the Hornets. They're having a really good NBA career. And Alex Ovechkin scored again last night. He's just 20 goals short of Wayne Gretzky's record now. So he is chasing it down.
Hey, back to Brandon Miller. Somebody brought up the other day that Darius Miles is still in county in Tuscaloosa.
I don't think he's. They haven't had the trial yet, have they? Yeah, I mean, I think he's still awaiting trial.
I mean, that's been forever
ago. I know.
It has been.
Yeah.
It's two full seasons.
Yeah. NCAA tournament when they get bounced in Louisville, Sweet 16. Brandon's off to the NBA now.
Final Four run, and now we're halfway through the next season after a Final Four run.
Yep. It's Championship Sunday in the NFL, everyone's favorite Sunday in the NFL.
Ugh.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Think about the best summer nights of your life. How many of those were in a great t-shirt? Visit nextround.store to get the perfect t-shirt for the next perfect southern night. Nextround.store. The memories are waiting.
Follow the Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Here we go, live show now on a Monday after a crazy fun day of football yesterday. We'll get to another Chiefs and Eagles championship coming up. Also, some big college football news. It's good to be Jim Knowles today. He's got a big paycheck, historic paycheck, to switch schools in the Big Ten. But we'll start with college basketball. We'll get to Auburn's win over number 6 Tennessee. They stay number 1 in what was a rock fight down at Neville Arena.
Boy, was it.
But Alabama holds off LSU 80-73, and what everyone was talking about was Mark Sears not playing a minute in the second half. And Alabama winning this one. We've got Nate Oates' comments, and just when you watch that basketball game on Saturday night, and for a lot of people, if you only have one TV, you're probably locked in on number 6 versus number 1, Tennessee Auburn going on at the same time. But if you multiple TVs, or if you're an Alabama fan, you're watching the Tide battle an LSU team that was playing above their skis, and Sears was 0 points in the first half and then 0 minutes in the second half. When you see that, Brown, your first thought was?
Well, I thought he was hurt. And especially, I knew he didn't start the second half, obviously. And then they start showing him on the bench. And at one point, he's wiping his eyes with a towel. And you can see that there appears to have been some emotion in his eyes. And I assumed he was hurt. And then when you see the emotion, kind of the tears in his eyes like that, I feared it was a serious injury.
Yeah, this is Preston Murphy, our video at Next Round Live. For about 2.5 minutes while game action is going on, actually almost having a conversation, consoling him at times.
But normally, Lance, if a guy is hurt, especially if he's seriously hurt, he's not back out in his uniform.
No.
That was when I thought, well, this is awful strange. What's going on?
This looked a lot like a situation, 6 weeks ago, where I came on here and I know you guys were like, I think it's great that Mark Sears can take the second half off. He's not feeling it that day, and his teammates can take over. And I was like, I think it's extremely weird.
He opted out of that one, was the comment.
That was the comment.
I would guarantee you it's the same situation. Whatever the situation is, there has got to be a correlation between what you saw Saturday night and what you saw earlier this season.
He didn't look the same on the bench during that Illinois game, but I don't know what goes on in the locker room. Nate Oates explained afterwards. Cut number 1, Tyler, if you will. This is Nate Oates getting asked about Mark Sears, preseason SEC Player of the Year, All-American, a guy that sometimes is your best offensive weapon, who was 0 for the first half and then didn't play in the second half. This is how Nate answered the question.
I didn't think our second half defense has been very good lately, so we made the point to the guys, we're done starting the same group that starts the game. We're going to start the guys that we think give us the best chance to get a great start in the second half. So we subbed in 2 guys in the starting lineup that, kind of looked at some leverage numbers, plus minus numbers, and kind of challenged a couple guys. And I couldn't be more proud of our guys in the second half. To only give up a .83. Cliff, I didn't think he was bringing it. They had a kid at 15 rebounds. Cliff was not rebounding like he needed to. Wasn't playing as hard as we'd have liked, and he ends up going out and playing extremely hard in the second half, had a great attitude on the bench, and ends up winning the hard hat after not starting the second half. So I kind of just told them guys that's how life goes. Sometimes there's a little adversity, and you got to challenge it well, and I was super proud of the way Cliff handled it. So, and I'll just say this, and I'm not going to talk anymore about the playing time stuff. We went with the guys in the second half that thought gave us the best chance to win this game. And we won the game, and our defense was significantly better than the first half, and we haven't done that very often this year. So that's all I'm going to say about that stuff.
I think that tells you all you need to know. There's something deeper. There's something going on. Like, for him not to reference Mark's name at all.
And he did Cliff Amore's.
Yeah. I mean, he would say, hey, look, Mark just had an off night. We love Mark. You've seen what he's able to do for this university for the last couple of years. For where we want to get as a team goal, we've got to have Mark a big part of that. For him to completely omit his name, there's something deeper going on.
And because he said a couple of guys, and then he brings Cliff Amore up by name.
Couple is what, 2?
2, yeah. And then praises him. There were 2 guys that started the game, didn't start the second half. It is not hard to figure out who he's talking about there. And then praises Cliff Amore's response to it. Is it negative about Mark Sears' response, but also doesn't even mention him, right? And then was kind of asked about it, and that was the second half of the answer there. I'm done talking about playing time, but, basically the guys that are going to play are the guys that are going to win the game.
I thought maybe he had been injured before the final play. He had been banged around at the goal. It was on the court, and a guy fell on top of him. I thought maybe he was injured.
That's something definitely he would have pointed out.
He did not mention that, and his mom, Mark's mom, on Facebook says Mark was not injured and not sick.
Yeah, she went Brenda Warner.
Yeah. She
did. If you don't remember
that
reference, Brenda Warner, Kurt Warner's wife, when he was getting criticized on local, I think it was a St. Louis talk show, called in. And
I do remember that.
It became a really, really big deal, which I assume some of these posts are going to become a pretty big deal.
Well, Mark Sears' mom, who is a social media, I'm not going to say social media influencer. She describes herself as a digital creator.
Who doesn't these days?
I know. There are a lot of those out there. Has a verified Facebook account as a digital creator, and very publicly was discussing this last night. We shared some of it on social media. Many of you did not like that.
She was defending her. She was defending her son.
We shared it without any sort of commentary, just that she's expressing herself. She was clearing up that he was not hurt.
I mean, it's already shared. I don't know what the big deal with that is.
I don't either. Because it's not positive about some people's team. People are going to get mad, and I get that. That's part of being a fan. But we shared it because she's openly talking about what's going on. She's a public figure.
Yeah, the big takeaway, not injured, not sick.
Not injured, not sick, was having a bad shooting night, did not get an opportunity to finish the game, was her explanation.
She got deep. Who's the enemy? Is Nate Oates the enemy?
I don't know. That was a little unclear to me. I don't think that's what she meant by that.
Ironically, it's a Bible verse. I mean, not ironically, it's a Bible verse, and it was yesterday, ironically, the verse that was preached on at my church. It was weird. She brought it up on Facebook, and it was the sermon.
Well, maybe God's trying to get to you.
So maybe that's why you shared it,
that's
right?
Maybe through Mark Sears benching in the second half, God's trying to get your attention.
But I did think it was.
Don't box God.
And that's why I don't think this is like a moment. I think something, and look, this is just speculation on my part, but if you go back to the Illinois game, to what you saw Saturday night in Tuscaloosa, for her to be that emotional and to I mean, I can call it oversharing. She can do what she wants. I would hope as a parent that if I was in that situation, I wouldn't overshare like that. You never know. I mean, it's her kid. Whatever she feels is in the best interest of Mark. I've always been, I just don't know what you gain, whether you're a brother, a husband, a wife, a parent, by going to bat for your kid through social media.
Yeah,
it never works out.
Mark still has to go do the work, and Mark still has to deal with everything in the locker room.
And she's going to still want to come to these games, and now she's going to be a bigger focal point. I mean, they show her plenty on a lot of the broadcast, but she's going to be a bigger focal point now moving forward.
In the actual game, Alabama does hold off LSU 80-73. Aiden Holloway continues to be really good shooting the basketball, 19 points. Mo Diabate continues to do it at both ends of the floor, 14 points. But the shift actually started in the starting lineup. Chris Youngblood got to start over LeBaron Philon, and Youngblood scored a lot of points early on, ended up with 13 points, and Alabama gets the win. It's only the fourth time all year they were out-rebounded. They got out-rebounded by LSU.
Well, the chess kid had 18 boards. You heard Nate reference his 15. Yep. It was actually 18, and maybe it was 15 and a half. But, if there would have been a change in the starting lineup, we kind of talked about this Diabate for Stevenson. Seemed like maybe that's the direction they would go. I do think that this staff had the luxury of playing not a very good LSU team in Tuscaloosa. Like, with all of the internal drama that seemed like was going on, if they would have played, 3/4 of the league that night, they would have lost.
And that's what I think. Nate Oates, I think, knew he could win that game with Holloway and Philon playing at guard. And Mark Sears could sit and watch that, and the rest of the team could look and say, if Mark Sears is going to sit a half, anybody on this team could sit a half. And if that message is received, you'll look back on this as a non-issue. In fact, you might look back on this as a very big positive for Alabama basketball. If that message is not received, then you got a lot of guys that aren't paying close enough attention, and that becomes a bigger issue.
Well, here's my question. It all comes down to me now. How does Mark Sears respond to the challenge, right? Because this is something that could, depending on Mark and Nate's relationship, could send Mark into the wrong direction for the rest of the year. And I'll ask you guys this question. Without Mark Sears on this team playing Mark Sears-like basketball, is it a Final Four team?
I'm going to disagree with what you just said there, though. I don't think Nate Oates does it if he thinks it would send Mark Sears in the wrong direction.
Did he look like he was in a good direction on the bench?
He didn't, but that's in the moment. Okay, so I don't think Nate Oates does this if he doesn't think Mark Sears could handle it, and Mark Sears, by being benched, is sending a message to this entire team. Nate Oates is a exceptionally good basketball coach. You don't get to this point and bench a guy that has just scored 2,500 points and is the leading active scorer in the NCAA if you don't think he can handle it.
Well, we'll see what direction this thing goes. I mean, for him not to reference Mark, again, I thought was very, very interesting. Look, he's not Nick Saban. If Nick Saban was doing some kind of messaging just based on the resume, you'd be like, okay, maybe this makes sense. I am going to be fascinated moving forward for a couple of reasons. I mean, one of the reasons Sears is still playing is because of his height. If Sears was 6'3", he'd be in the NBA right now.
That is correct.
And so now I think everything is going to be magnified what Sears does moving forward, because I think NBA scouts are trying to figure out where this guy belongs. Is he an overseas guy? Is he a guy that can be on an NBA roster? And if he is going to be on an NBA roster, it's going to be because of the talent, but they don't want any dysfunction at all. So this is a really interesting. And it's not even a one-off to me. Again, I think there's a correlation between this and Illinois, and that's pure speculation.
Yeah, I'm not going that far. I would tell you, I bet you Mississippi State Wednesday night, Mark Sears plays as good a basketball game as you've seen him play, and Nate Oates is effusive in his praise about how Mark handled this situation.
That seems like the way it would play out. I can't believe you guys don't think there's correlation between Illinois and this. That is just too strange.
Correlation. Define what you mean by that.
I mean, I thought the body language against Illinois, it was like, I didn't have it tonight. I was letting my teammates take over. That's extremely weird. You never see an alpha ever do that. And I know I got criticized by a lot of people for saying that. It's just facts of the matter. And then
I just say it was early in the season. It was a great, if that's truly the way it played out, and I can only take everybody at what they say, that is a great leadership moment. Listen, I know you want to put me in the game because I'm Mark Sears and I led us to the Final Four last year.
Great players play their way out of funks.
But you don't have to play me tonight. Let the guys who are hot play me.
Never heard that in my life, though, ever.
Yeah.
And now you get this. And then you get Oates not talking about it. And then you get Sears' mom going public. This is not a one-off. There is no way Sears' mom has that kind of venom shooting all that out.
I
with
would
this
go
only.
Venom. I think Venom's a bit of an
I mean, we did see enemy a lot. I mean, I know it's a biblical verse, but I mean, there's got to be a point to it.
Yeah, but the enemy wasn't necessarily. I don't think she was directing that at Nate Oates or Alabama basketball.
I'm not, but she was directed at somebody.
Yeah.
Well, just say the situation.
Yeah, I'm just saying, whatever it was, it seemed like something was built up to have that many posts and have that much interaction with fans.
Yeah. Is there, and Nate would never throw a player under the bus, right? It doesn't seem like he would throw people under the bus.
That's an interesting devil. He's honest about his players, though, and he will call them out if they don't play well. Now, you could call that being thrown under the bus or being honest.
I know,
yeah,
but let me finish my thought.
Okay.
Him not playing 1 minute in the second half, though, that there are situations in the history of sports when a player has been told, hey, you're not starting the second half, or you're not starting the game, and the player doesn't react exactly right, then you end up sitting if you don't react the way the coach wants you to react. I don't know if that has anything to do with this. It'll be interesting to see what Nate says next, how Mark responds. But for him not to play a minute in the second half, like Cliff didn't play well, brought up Cliff. He didn't play well in the first half.
He won the hard hat.
He came back in and won the hard hat in the second half. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Cliff got a chance to correct a bad first half by playing in the second half.
I just would be fascinating, and I know we'll get to Auburn, Tennessee in a little bit, if this would have been Tennessee in Coleman Coliseum. I mean, I go back to your point. I think that Nate and his staff knew more than likely, without Mark, we can still win this game.
Yeah, I think they knew this is a tie ball game, but I am about to peel some paint and get some attention. And the best way I can get attention right now and maybe get this team, because let's say, as well as Alabama has played at times over the last couple of games, and they've played very, very well at Kentucky. That was a tremendous win. And then they came home and beat Vanderbilt. That was, look, this Vanderbilt team just continues to stack good wins.
Always want to play Vanderbilt midweek, not on Saturdays.
That's right, or in the Mim Gym, apparently. But Nate Oates has expressed frustration with his team, especially after that Ole Miss game. And even again, was it going into the Vanderbilt game where they had to extend practice? He's like, I saw some of the same stuff that snuck into the Ole Miss practice, and we weren't going to finish that way.
I've said it several times. He is coaching this team extremely hard.
He is coaching this team extremely hard. And if you've got your team leader, who is an All-American candidate, who probably, and let's call it like it is making more NIL money than anybody in that locker room, and his teammates know it, right? If you've got that guy and he's not living up to your standard, number one, you're blessed that you've got a deep enough roster that you can do something about that. There are a lot of rosters in America that couldn't bench a Mark Sears in a second half.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
But what is the standard? It's not having an off night. Guys have off nights.
But if it's an off night, Lance, that leads, like, I can deal with you scoring 0 points, right? People miss shots.
Yeah.
But if you're scoring 0 points and not getting back on defense and not playing hard enough on defense, that's pure effort. You can't allow a poor offensive night to affect the way you play on the defensive end. And if that's what was in fact the case, Nate Oates preaches about that all the time. And there is no better preacher. Nate Oates can preach all he wants about that. Taking his best player and putting on the bench for a half in a tie ball game is better than any sermon he could ever preach.
Nate recently, on one of the sound bites we played on with some show in the last 10 days, praised how Mark's improved defensively.
That's right.
Yep.
But again, you can improve all you want defensively if your poor offensive night is affecting your defensive performance. And maybe that is your correlation, Lance, that you're talking about. Maybe that's what happened with Illinois, and it just didn't get magnified because Alabama, they won that game going away against Illinois.
Pretty comfortably.
Yeah, so it didn't get magnified, but maybe this was Nate Oates saying, hey, you're doing the same thing you're doing against Illinois. And we let it go. I'm not going to let it go. I can't let it go in conference play.
Back to your point on, and I forgot what your point was now on. What would Alabama be without Sears? They ain't winning 4 games in the NCAA tournament.
No, I don't think they could win a national championship without.
And this is strange, but it's almost like what you got with it, and I know it was more magnified because you got a lot fewer games. But Jalen Milroe. Like Alabama wasn't going to do anything football-wise as far as winning championships and getting to a postseason without Jalen Milroe playing his best.
Yeah, but I would say the reason you'd go to extreme measures is because you can't win a Final Four without Mark Sears. And if I let him not live up to the standard, but I still reward him with playing time, I'm not getting my team's attention and I'm not getting his attention. And I think Nate Oates is like, I can risk this against LSU, or we can let this be a problem the rest of the year. And if it's a problem the rest of the year, you're not winning a Final Four anyway.
Well, Nate Oates told us something is definitely deeper than we know about by not mentioning Mark Sears.
Bama wins Mississippi State on Wednesday. State coming off a win, tough place to play, physical defense, Chris Jans. You can get more on that matchup, what we expect from Mark Sears, a bounce-back game on the basketball show. The new podcast is out right now on YouTube and all the video platforms. The Auburn win and reaction from that rock fight after Brownie tells us about our friends at the World of Wills.
It is coming back to the BJCC, and it is coming up this week, starting on the 31st. What is that? Is that Thursday? Friday. Thank you, Lance. Friday, going through the weekend at the BJCC. See custom classic cars, hot rods, trucks, motorcycles. New this year, check out the exotic car exhibit. Plus, do not miss the BMX bike stunt team performing outrageous stunts live each day. Kids, meet your favorite costume characters and race Hot Wheels in the free Hot Wheels drag track. Don't miss the Super Show with one-of-a-kind vehicles from across the country. Get your discount tickets today at O'Reilly Auto Parts stores and get details at worldofwheels.net.
And World of Wheels, great for the entire family, but if the wife or girlfriend really doesn't want to go, you want to take your kid, treat her to Birmingham's best day spa, the Woodhouse Day Spa. You guys can go downtown. She can go to the Summit. She can choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatments, skincare, waxing, nail services. Woodhouse Day Spa voted America's best day spa since 2009. You can order gift cards online 24/7. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. That's Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Or just get into the Summit Shopping Centers, conveniently located up there. Go see Stuart, the great staff. Tell him the next round sent you.
If you tell me Auburn beats Tennessee 53-51, it's 22-20 at the half, I'd tell you that game's played in Knoxville.
I would agree.
For that game to be played like that at Auburn, it surprised me that the officials let it be played as a wrestling match like they did. It was Tennessee's style of play, but Auburn beats Tennessee at their own game 53-51. Johni Broome returns. Here's Bruce on the Broome effort, coming in there 16 points, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks in 33 minutes.
I just want to thank my trainers and my doctors and Johni Broome for living in the training room for 2 weeks. I did not think he was going to come back tonight in the middle of the week. And then even here the day before, I knew he wanted to go. I didn't think he was going to be able to be effective. And he had a triple-double tonight. 16 points, 13 rebounds, and he missed 12 shots. But you know, I think the team really respected their leader, you know, for putting it on the line, and you know, obviously, you know, I don't know that we win if he doesn't come back.
You don't win if he doesn't come back.
No
he was fantastic, and you saw him limping around. And then, you know, when Billis went into what the last couple of weeks have looked like, that's a full-time job, his rehab. I mean, 12 hours a day, basically just rehabbing. I mean, that's
tough. That's tough, and he was not 100%. You didn't watch that game and think you were getting all of Johni Broome as well as he played, 16 and 13.
The effort was crazy,
The
though.
effort was incredible, but Bill has mentioned it several times. He does not have the explosion that he would normally have.
Yeah. And I guess they know that'll come back as it continues to rehab and heal. I don't know if you rest him again, they got a not that any game is an easy game, but they got a winnable game at LSU on the road in Baton Rouge coming up next.
I don't know
how the tricky game at Ole Miss. Do you rest him at LSU and continue, or it may be one of those things that rest doesn't matter anymore? It just gets better and better each day.
I really don't know how Rick Barnes does this game in, game out. I don't know how Tennessee fans do it watching this.
It is a hard watch.
I mean, it really is what you got with Tony Bennett at Virginia when you won a national championship. This might even be worse at times. But, I mean, when you can go into an electric place like Auburn and basically dictate everything. I mean, the numbers were basically across the board the same. I mean, 4 of 22 behind the arc for Tennessee, 3 of 20 for Auburn. I mean, just awful shooting. Yeah. And that's what you get every game. Tennessee never shoots good.
I mean, Denver Jones and Chad Baker-Mazara. I mean, forget a long shot. Chad Baker-Mazara at the goal. Neither one of them hit a field goal in the game. Denver and Chad Baker, 0 from the field.
That's stunning, really. I mean, it is.
And they both can shoot. I mean, obviously, Baker-Mazara is one of the best free throw shooters in all of college basketball, but they were 9 of 9 from the line, but they were a combined 0 of 13 from the field.
Yeah. I ran into a Tennessee fan, a mutual friend of ours, at lunch Friday. And I asked him how he felt about the game. He goes, we're going to lose at Auburn. He goes, I'm so tired of Rick Barnes. I was like, tired of Rick Barnes? You guys have been number 1 this year. He goes, I know. He goes, but it's so hard to watch. He's like, we bring in these good shooters, and he goes, as the year goes, they just get worse and worse and worse under him. Nobody scores under him. Nobody develops offensively under him. He goes, if we don't just play defense out of our minds, we can't beat good teams.
Yeah, I think the frustrating thing for Tennessee fans is – you know what you lost in Bruce Pearl and that fun style. No, obviously Rick Barnes in Tennessee dictated the style of play
it was not a fun style
on Saturday. But I'm just saying what you get night in, night out with Auburn, if you're a Tennessee fan, you're like, really the end of the year results are pretty much we're a top 10 team. Yeah. We don't have a ton of tournament success, which is kind of the MO or what you've had at least blueprint on Bruce Pearl, but I would rather have a really good season playing like Auburn does than Tennessee.
Yeah, if you're a Tennessee fan, you had to downgrade from driving the Maserati. You had 2 kids and a wife, and all of a sudden you're in a minivan. It's not as sexy anymore, their style of play. It's not as much fun to drive around in. I'll ask you this. This Auburn team is number 1 in all the metrics, number 1 overall. To be able to win different ways, though, like they did against Tennessee, that's a very NCAA tournament-like feel, right? Sometimes you got to win in a shootout. Sometimes you got to go out there and with different officiating crews than you're used to. Sometimes they let you play in the tournament, and sometimes you got to go out and win a rock fight. That's an impressive win. I know it was at home, but it was an impressive win to have to win not playing your style. That resonates with me.
I mean, I would agree. The good news is there's a handful of teams in America that you're going to run into that play defense like that in the NCAA tournament. I don't know how many you'll see in the SEC. I mean, I really think there's another one that plays quite like that. Maybe Ole Miss, but I don't know if they got the horses that Tennessee does.
No, they'll see them Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, we'll find out. But Ole Miss has done nothing but leak oil since they upset Alabama.
Yeah, on the road at their place on Saturday.
Yeah,
interesting game.
It is an interesting game. There's no doubt about it, especially when you see what Tennessee can do to you, and if Broome is still recovering. I mean, it's going to probably take him a minute to get to 100%. But, you've seen 2 of those teams already this year in Houston and Tennessee. I mean, that's widely regarded as 2 of the best defensive coaches, along with Chris Beard, 2 or 3 of the best defensive coaches in America, and he won both those games. So, yeah, I mean, that does show you that you've got different styles. You don't have to just play one specific style to win ball games.
And I got to pull back. We were talking about Houston, and they don't look as good, especially without Sasser over the last couple of years, but watching them, I still don't know how they beat Kansas on the road. I don't know how much of that game you guys got to watch.
I watched a lot of it because it was preempting
I
the
had
Auburn
Kansas
game.
+1.
Buddy, they melted down at the end of regulation.
They had 6 points lead in regulation and in overtime and blew both under a minute.
Melted down, just like, not Bill Self basketball. Complete meltdowns out of Kansas.
But
twice.
boy, Houston can still play incredible defense down the stretch.
They can.
And they score some points this year, too. A little bit better offensively than they've been in the past. Probably a little less defensively, a little better offensively. that may work out for a good combination for Houston.
And what would a conference win be in this state without a little drama? And Auburn had some of that, too.
Yeah, give me cut number 7, Jahki Howard, who got sent to the locker room.
Not at halftime, Jim.
Yeah, into the second half.
Yeah, during the game.
Yeah, he got sent to the locker room by Bruce Pearl. He gets asked about Jahki Howard afterwards. Here is Bruce on what happened with Jahki Howard.
Any thoughts on what happened with Jahki Howard at the start of the second half?
No, he had a rotation out there, and I don't think he felt great about his rotation. But we had a conversation, and we had another conversation after the game, and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
The conversation was a little back and forth, and a point to the locker room, and he spent the rest of the half in the locker room.
This, and I believe, was firing off some social media posts from what I've told.
He did that at halftime,
okay,
and then
I'm sorry.
deleted that.
Okay, deleted it while he was back in there.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
It's a praying hand and then a sleeping emoji.
What does that mean?
Means I don't know.
Okay.
I'm praying myself to sleep.
Maybe. I don't know.
Any interaction with Mrs. Sears? And
I don't know. I would just say, this is a guy that has already been involved in an incident that had to, and the first time I'm aware of this happening,
I don't think that's a sleep emoji. It looks like it's a massage or something. It looks like there's a pair of hands on the top of the head.
yeah, it does. It's exactly what it is.
Well, you can Google emojis. Figure out what that emoji means. I don't know what
Maybe
it is.
he's going to
I've got
Woodhouse.
an Android.
Like, I'm not going to play in the second half.
I thought it was Spock ears at first, but I was told I was wrong.
No, that's definitely hands.
Yeah. I would tell you that he was part, as Brown was about to say before he started losing a lung.
Up, yes.
That he was part of the air incident on the way to actually play Houston.
Yeah, first time in my life I've ever heard of that. A team having to turn a plane around because the guys got in a fight. And he stayed home from that game, but was welcomed back to the team. This is something, I think obviously his teammates welcomed him back. This guy's averaging 12 and a half minutes a game. So whatever happened, his teammates were able to get past it. But, I don't know how much more leash you could give this guy. Bruce Pearl, again, like I said about Nate Oates, Bruce is a exceptional basketball coach. I think he knows how to keep a pulse on a thing like this. But at some point, Jahki Howard averaging 5 points a game, 12 and a half minutes a game, is it worth the headache for the rest of your team to see, well, this guy gets to get in a fight on an airplane and, maybe get some sort of punishment, but he's still on the team. This guy gets to argue with his coach and go sit in the locker room at halftime, he's still on the team. At some point, you've got to make an example of him too if you're Bruce Pearl. This is a bit of a tricky situation for the Auburn basketball coach to figure out how to manage through this and not have the team look at it and say, how does this guy keep getting away with this stuff? I don't hustle back on one missed shot and I get yelled at,
Yeah. His role on the team much different than a starter.
It's nowhere close to the same player, but it doesn't have to be a good player for it to be a bad situation.
No.
And Bruce Pearl obviously likes Jahki Howard because Jahki Howard has given him every opportunity to kick him right off the team, and he hasn't done it yet.
So there's the wins over the weekend, and those that sit in the second half or got sent to the locker room in the case down at Auburn. But all in all, another winning weekend for the two best teams in the Southeastern Conference. And we move to week 13 of the college basketball season. When we come back, the Super Bowl is set. One of the great days of football happened yesterday. We'll jump into those games, set the table for the Super Bowl, get to some college football. Ron Slay gets us back to basketball. He's with us in 30 minutes to talk college basketball and what's going on in the SEC. The show being brought to you by our guy, Dr. B.
Dr. B, best in the business. I've got to swing by his office located right there at St. Vincent's later today. But Dr. B wants to remind you from genetic testing, custom compounding, transdermal infuser, the AI hair analysis. Dr. B has got over 10 categories of agents they can use knowing they will work for you. They will custom compound these agents for you in pill or topical forms. You pick and choose which agents that you want. Men and women are ordering Hims and other products online. They don't even know if they work. Dr. B has been using these tests for over 3 years with amazing results. Stop wasting your money and critical time while you are losing hair on treatments that aren't working for you. Come see Dr. B and find out what will work for you. Again, I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time. on the couch. That is it. My hair has more than doubled in thickness. 205-319-0316. Tell Dr. B and that great staff the Next Round sent you. For more information, you can always go online, t3hair.net.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to Fall Saturdays. Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rowback. Go to rowback.com and click on the refreshed collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
As we all know, there's no off-season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Alabama, join us over on covercrimson.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on covercrimson.com.
Before Brown tells us about the golf I didn't know this about NFL contracts. You get your salary, whatever your great big contract is, during the regular season, right? Some people get paid $633,000 a week or whatever. But when you get to the playoffs in the divisional round, everybody gets the same paycheck. and it's only $54,000 in the divisional round.
Only
but it's $54,000 for a game compared
right.
to some people who are making $600,000 for a game. So I never knew that it was $54,000. I bring it up because our buddy Marlon Humphrey basically ended up playing for free in the divisional rounds. He didn't get flagged for the hit on Josh Allen, but he got fined by the NFL $45,000 for the non-flag head-to-head contact with Josh Allen. So you do the math. He made about just a little over $8,000 before taxes.
I was going to say pre-tax.
On playing in that game. That's insanity that you fined me $45,000 in a game that I'm only getting paid $54,000 for.
Yeah, I would say, though, that it was a much bigger deal back in the day when guys didn't make the money they were making. And the money they could make, that would incentivize them. These guys are just playing to win championships now. Yeah. That's probably, I would say, wife or girlfriend's like, I hear you get $54,000. Let's go to Europe for a month after the season.
Yeah. But Marlon loses that paycheck there. Will Anderson, for his post comments that we played after the Texans lost to the Chiefs and the officials, got $25,000 fine for that. We'll get to what we saw yesterday and the teams heading to the Super Bowl. But Brownie, weather's wet today, so the golf is a great place to swing the club.
It is. It is always 70 degrees. And the golfist, there's never any wind. There's never any rain. You can find it right there on Highway 31 in Vestavia, and also the newer location, Van Road, just off Highway 11 in Trussville, coming soon out to the folks on Highway 280. You can go play Birmingham's best golf simulators, all indoors, all the courses that you've seen on TV you've always wanted to play, and many, many more. You can play those right there at the Golfist. Great place for a party. Turn on the games on one of the TVs there in your bay and play golf on the bigger screen. You can do that. Parties up to 50. Bring your own clubs, bring your own food, bring your own drink, and enjoy the Golfist. Also, get out of the office. Maybe do like a team building deal at the Golfist as well. TheGolfist.com to book a bay or find out more. TheGolfist.com.
Philadelphia beats Washington 55-23. LT, there was no way Washington was going to let Saquon Barkley beat them again. And then he scores on his first two touches.
Yeah, the problem, going back to the divisional round against the Rams, look, Chris Shula and Sean McVay, we're not going to let Saquon beat us again. And, you can hold him down only for so long. You saw him rip off the early run, but Saquon goes 118, 3 touchdowns. By the way, under the 124.5.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Which is amazing on that first run. You thought it was done.
Yeah, 60 yards to the house. You're like, damn, this guy's going to have 200 again. Just watching that game, it was painful as a Rams fan because I knew this. The Commanders weren't ready for the moment. They're going to be great long-term because of Jaden Daniels, but they weren't ready for that moment, and that was just an onslaught. And I find, 55 points is a lot of points, but for that to be the most points in the history of an NFC or AFC conference championship game, because we remember Dallas and San Francisco just whipping people.
Yeah, that is surprising that was the record to me. And look, it got out of hand because Washington was having a desperation and go for that. That's not an indicative score of the way that game was played.
Well, you said they went for it on fourth twice on the first drive.
Oh, no, I know that.
Fake punt on the second drive.
I'm just saying late in the game, you've got no other option but to go for it like in your own territory and
Don't
stuff
you
like
turn
that.
your hat back around after you're down 30?
Yeah, I think there's got to be a point where I'm like, I can't wear the hat backwards anymore.
It was amazing the number of punch-outs that Washington couldn't hold on to the football, the spot-on punch-outs that were happening from the defense and the special teams.
And the biggest one was on the kick return right before the half. You're still in that game. You've got a chance maybe with a miracle to drive down and get, field goal or something, and then you get it punched out. And you basically give Philadelphia back-to-back scores. That's where the game was changed.
9 penalties, 4 turnovers for Washington. They hung around for a little bit, but Jalen Hurts, as much criticism as he took, he played extremely well.
He really did. Look at this picture. He's smoking a cigar. It's an iconic photo. History, we don't have photos like we used to. But this would have been, for you old people out there, Sports Illustrated Life magazine-like photo. Jalen Hurts at his locker. Lighting that cigar. I don't know if it's the cigar, the profile, but that looks like old Jalen Hurts, right? Like that Jalen Hurts when he's 50 or something, lighting a cigar.
He looks like he knows what he's doing with the cigar.
Yeah, he does.
You don't light that cigar in that situation for the first time.
That is illegal, though, right?
Illegal?
Yeah, you're not supposed to light cigars indoors, right?
I would imagine the link is probably a smokeless.
Even 25 years ago, I'm rewatching The Sopranos for the 4th time, and Tony's at a funeral home, and he's lighting up a cigar, and And Richie April's like, you can't smoke that in here. He's like, it ain't bothering him. He's dead.
It's a great point. But look at the curse that Jalen Hurts broke. It had been years since a quarterback had lost his debut in the Super Bowl and made it all the way back. Look at that. It's 19 quarterbacks to lose their Super Bowl debut as a starter and never went back to the game. 19 of them. Jalen Hurts finally does that after losing 2 years ago. Brock Purdy still has some time. Joe Burrow still has some time. Garoppolo, Goff could get back there. Ryan, Cam Newton, Kaepernick, Sexy Rexy Grossman is on the list. Hasselbeck. McNabb never got back there. Delhomme never got back there. Rich Gannon never got back there. Kerry Collins, the heir. Steve McNair never got back. Chris Chandler, Drew Bledsoe never got back there. Neil O'Donnell never got back, and Stan Humphries never got back.
I mean, those are some Bush League names on the other side.
So I guess this takes us all the way back to Jim Kelly. He's the last one to do this.
To lose and to get back,
Yeah, and you would have thought that Goff would be on this list more than likely. I mean, if you're a Detroit fan, how did that Commanders team beat you? I mean, -5 in turnovers.
Yeah, turnovers will do it to you, right? So there's half of the Super Bowl with the Eagles getting back there. By the way, they set a record 7 rushing touchdowns in the game. Actually, it ties a record. In 1940, the Chicago Bears ironically beat the Washington Redskins 73-0 when they had 7 rushing touchdowns. So they tied that record, and Washington's on the bad end of both of those. In the iconic game of the day, Kansas City and Buffalo, we'll get to that right after I remind you, our buddy Greg from Pell City Storm Restoration Roofing, the great family-owned roofing company here, locally owned for over 20 years. He and his wife, Andrea, in the picture there, own the company. They've got a son-in-law that's part of the crews. They'll get on your roof and give you a free, no-cost roof inspection, absolutely free if you call his cell number. Here's Greg's number, 205-542-3531, or hit him up on a text, 205-542-3531, or look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City. One of the things he does absolutely great, other than the free no-cost roof inspection, no obligation, is the fact that he helps you with the insurance providers. He knows most of those guys. He helps you walk through the process when it's time to make a storm damage claim or a roof replacement or anything like that. Check it out. It is Storm Restoration Roofing, Greg from Pell City. I think that Kansas City-Buffalo game lived up to expectations. That was a fun game.
Yeah, I would agree. And you look around and you're like, how in the heck is Buffalo this good with their skill? Like, James Cook is really good. Mac Hollins made a couple of incredible grabs, but that's a journeyman. Shakir's been good all year. Amari Cooper barely touches the football for this offense. They just don't have a lot of great skill, but Josh Allen is that good. He needed to be next level good yesterday, though.
Boy, he was close. I mean, that 4th down at the end, coming out of the 2-minute warning, when he's running for his life, the fact that he got that ball anywhere close to Dalton Kincaid was incredible.
How did Kincaid not make the grab?
I don't know. I don't. You saw the high 22, how far he had to run to get to that ball.
I couldn't tell if the ball was tipped at all, but it looked like it hit Kincaid right in the hand.
As in, you played baseball too. Diving straight on at a ball coming right at you as opposed to diving a little sideways, it's a harder catch. I don't know why it was for me, and it did look like he was having to lunge almost straight towards the ball, and it's a tougher catch for some reason than diving diagonally. You know what I mean?
I see that baseball. Yeah, I mean, maybe the same thing. Still, I mean, boy, you saw Buffalo's sideline. I thought he made the grab.
They win the game if he catches that. I firmly believe Josh Allen takes them down and scores a touchdown.
Unless they tie it and get the
worst case, they tie it.
Yeah, at least it goes to overtime.
Yeah, but I think they would have won the game. The way that game was trending, they would have won the game. But, I mean, just an incredible effort by Buffalo.
It's just this Kansas City team is so frustrating if you don't, because there are 2 groups of people now.
Oh, you're cheering.
Chiefs fans who I got multiple texts from Chiefs fans. How about those Chiefs? Okay, we've seen it before. It's not like this is a high mountain that you guys have climbed. But either you are a Chiefs fan or you hate the Chiefs. I mean, there's really no in between now.
It's the same thing that has happened throughout the history of American sports. You either love a dynasty or you cheer against a dynasty.
No, you're right. But I've got a really good friend that watches our show that lives in Denver, Scott Banks. And he said his wife, Danielle, actually ran him out of the house last week when they were playing the Texans because he is very, very loud. He's got a sailor's mouth. And she was like, you got to get out of the house. Like, I don't want to hear this anymore.
Because he was cheering against the Chiefs.
Yeah, so I texted him yesterday, and I was like, boy, it's going to be a long day for you. He was like, I'm not even watching it. And he was like, I know exactly what's going to happen. This Chiefs team always finds a way to win these games.
Well, and it was not without controversy yet again.
That's a first down, Brown.
Well, I can see why the official on our side doesn't see that because he's shielded by Josh Allen's back.
But our side, the guy further
the guy
down,
coming at us saw it.
But he had the best angle.
He did.
So those two different spots. Guy at the top didn't have the best angle. He had it marked to first down. The guy that had the better angle had it marked a little bit behind the line. I actually think he probably got over, but it was really close.
I thought he got right to the line.
But then,
but whatever they called on the field, it wasn't going to be.
The question becomes, forward progress. Do you declare it stopped when he's across the line, or do you give them credit for pushing him back behind the line?
You never get credit for pushing back, man. It's the forward progress.
And by the way, did they ever rule anything on the field? I know when they came back and they said, he failed to get the line to gain. Ruling on the field stance. I never heard them call anything on the field.
Oh, yeah, they marked it just
I think
short.
they marked him short based on the crowd reaction, and then it goes to replay and it comes back.
Yeah, a huge call.
Boy, I will give
of course
Kansas City, and Tony Romo brought this up multiple times. What they were able to do on short yardage against Josh Allen, because to me, as good as the brotherly shove is with Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen is more difficult to stop.
Yeah,
he is.
In those short yardage. He was 29 of 31.
Yeah. He's so much bigger even than Hurts is, and he picks the hole, and he just winds around. But they did a really good job against it.
But he always goes left.
Yeah, he does always go left, and Kansas City knew that, and they were able to stop it some. So Scott is showing us. So the official near side with us marks it short.
Yeah.
Other guy has it right on the 40, which would have been a first.
Yeah. At first, the guy on the top had it. He was a 1 foot past the line, and then they were started walking towards each other.
I think they teach the referees, let's try to have some sort of uniformity here. So as you guys are coming at each other, at least try to match it up.
Yeah,
but who gets the ball first is your key, right? If Allen comes out and tosses it to the guy at the top of the screen, he's probably got a first down because that guy's going to mark it on the 40.
No, I've officiated one game in my career.
Okay.
And that was actually the linesman. So if I've got the spot, if I'm telling the other guys I had a good view of it, I raise my hand as I'm going in to spot the ball. That's what you're taught to do.
Did he raise his hand?
If you'll notice in the picture, neither one of those guys have their hand raised.
So if you've got your hand raised,
that means I've got a good look.
But the other official matches up to you?
You
or
default to the other guy.
They were probably waiting on New York to call and see what they wanted to do with the Chiefs.
I knew this was coming.
Yeah.
Now,
I knew it.
I had the Chiefs minus 1.5, so I actually was pulling for the Chiefs. I can't imagine if I was on the other side because I would be back to the conspiracy theory that the Chiefs get all the calls.
But not conspiracy theories, but we do we know we have a bailout now, so neither one of them is raising their hands because they're like, well, let's mark this ball. They're gonna adjust it in New York anyway. We're not even gonna have to throw a flag.
You know how knee-jerk we are to things. Does this lead finally to the chip in the football?
Well, I can't believe I've said this. In 2025, I cannot believe we depend on 3 old guys running up down the sideline with a 10-yard chain in their hand.
Yeah.
That just makes no sense to me.
I mean, if you've got a chip in the ball, you know where it is,
yes,
right?
I can't believe we depend on the eyesight of these officials and not a chip of the ball.
One of them used to be a star running back for your high school team in 1977, so he gets to do the yardstick.
That's right. I can't believe we still deal with that in the NFL. Maybe in high school football, but not the NFL.
Yeah.
But then there's, a lot of people are going to make a big deal because it's Kansas City on the play where the ball falls incomplete when Jim Nantz says there's the flag on the play and the graphic shows a flag on the play.
Yeah.
And and that graphic stays up for a very long time while Romo talks, and then Nantz has to, put it in reverse. Terry, he backs it up, Terry, and says, "Whoop, there's no flag."
Yeah, but see that
that
happens sometimes.
I know, but a lot of people are going to say they threw the just in case flag and then didn't need it, so we pick it up and move on.
That the graphic people think they saw a flag and they threw it. No.
They have molded their yellow to match more of the penalty flag.
Yeah.
Kansas City just in case. So they've got benefit of the doubt now. That's just a towel from Xavier Worthy that's on the field right now.
Gloves. Yeah.
The bang 50-50 ball. I thought that ball was on the ground. That should have been an incomplete pass.
Do you think it was on the ground because it can touch the ground as long as it doesn't move in the hands? The problem in this play is it's in 4 hands. It's not in 2 hands.
That's right. So nobody really has possession, and it's going and it hits the ground really hard, and the ball doesn't move. But
that's why I think you've got to give it to the receiver.
To me, they did give it to the
receiver.
Neutral possession goes to the receiver. But now Like if the receiver just catches it without the mutual possession, the ball hits the ground, he's got his hands on it, but it doesn't move. That's a catch.
That's fine. Yeah.
But when we got,
it wasn't until the Rams beat the Buccaneers in the
did that change?
NFC Championship back in the what was that 10-6 or something? 10-9.
It was 12 to
9,
12 to
6,
10.
12
to
3.
Yeah, something. It was a terrible game.
Yeah, it was a horrible game.
It was.
But we completed one forward pass, but the ball touched the ground.
Yeah.
And it got overruled.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, people are going to always say the refs are on the side of Kansas
But,
City.
I mean, they do seem to, like all the 50-50 calls go their way.
It does feel that way, but if you pull that aside, if you peel that banana back, you have got to say Patrick Mahomes is incredible.
No, I love
he only gets better in the tougher moments. That's what's crazy about him.
I know. He's just.
I mean, when the game's on the line, Lance,
his legs were the difference.
They're impossible to pull for. I loved his. I thought he was going to throw his arm out of socket too on the spike.
What a terrible spike!
Worst spike ever.
Yeah, but I mean, when the chips are down, that guy plays actually next level football.
Well, and even they lose the turnover battle. This is the first time in this postseason that a team has been minus in turnovers and won a game.
Yep. Even worse, LT. In the last 23 playoff games, 23 of them that have been played since 2020, when a team has scored 4 or more touchdowns and had 0 turnovers in a game, that team is 21-2. The 2 losses.
Yeah.
Buffalo against Kansas City.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean,
4 touchdowns or more and no turnovers, and you've lost the game.
Think about since 2021, they have been bounced from 4 postseasons, all by Kansas City. And Josh Allen, over those 4 years or 5 years, he's won all 4 regular season matchups, but he's 0-4 against Mahomes in the postseason. And this is going to live with this kid because he is outstanding. He literally is one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen, and I don't know if he's ever going to get.
He's the best quarterback in the league right now.
I would agree that he is the best quarterback in the league, but I don't think he is ever going to get the love that he deserves based on the fact that he can't get to a Super Bowl.
Who did Jordan stand in the way of when Jordan was winning all of those championships?
It turned out Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, Patrick Ewing
was one.
Yeah.
Reggie Miller was.
Well, really, it turned out Houston Rockets. Didn't they win both of them when Jordan was playing baseball?
But I'm just saying there's a great player who, because he happened to be in the same conference or the same league at the same time as Michael Jordan, couldn't get over the hump because of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
There's a golfer, I'm sure, during Tiger Woods' great time that was really the second best. I guess Mickelson won some.
To a certain extent,
There was probably one guy there that Tiger kept from breaking through.
Ernie Els, Phil Mickelson. You can make a case for a lot of those.
David Duvall for 1 year or 2.
I know the Bills lost to both the Redskins and the Giants, but if it wasn't for the Cowboys, the Bills would have a Super Bowl.
That's right. They had 2 of those, but it just seems to me like Mahomes is Michael Jordan to Josh Allen.
But
they're
not. They are not winning the Super Bowl.
The mailman Karl Malone.
But I said this last week because I got a buddy that wagers way too much, and I was like,
time for an intervention.
Philadelphia going into the weekend, and it was based on this game against the Commanders, but they were your favorite to win the Super Bowl. They were plus 155 just last week, and I was like, Philadelphia's going to win the Super Bowl. And, I mean, they're 1.5-point underdogs right now. It's one thing for the Chiefs to get there, but now 2 weeks to absorb this, I just don't see them winning 3 consecutive Super Bowls.
But, man, you got to give Reed credit. Those 2 play calls. To pick up a first down, and then with the game absolutely on the line to pick up a second first down. Now, first of all, you trust Mahomes to throw in those situations. A lot of teams wouldn't do that. They'd run him.
Who was it? P. Ryan that didn't go out of or did go out of bounds?
On the first down, which you'd have preferred him stay in, obviously, but then you have to make that second call. I mean, you just got to. I know it's easy to hate the Chiefs, right? You got to respect Patrick Mahomes. I don't know how you can't respect the level of play he plays when the chips are down.
And Andy Reid. I mean, just a great
2
play
Hall of
calling
Famers.
there. So it is February 9th, 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern, Super Bowl 59 coming up, and it'll be Kansas City and Philadelphia again. It was a great game last time, 38-35. Kansas City won it over the Eagles. They will try to get back and get a little revenge in this contest. If they can't do it, it will have history. The Steelers, the Cowboys, the Packers, nobody's ever won 3 Super Bowls in the road.
Initial blush for you guys, though.
I'll be cheering for the Eagles because I don't want to see the history.
There's a reason nobody's won 3 in a row, so that does make you.
I mean, but do you guys think? I mean, Philadelphia.
I need to know, Lance. Their offensive line is the strength of that team, and they are banged up at center. Landon Dickerson couldn't finish the game for them.
Yeah, but still was in and out, and with 2 weeks, I would think that he's going to be
and
fine.
that would be your hope. And they've got the number 1 defense. Is that legitimately the number 1 defense, or is it based on playing in the NFC versus the AFC. I don't know the answer to that.
Kellen Moore looks more and more like our man Verno.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, especially the older he gets.
Yeah.
But he is going to make a point, and he did it going into this game against the Commanders. We're going to run the football. This is how we're going to win a championship.
But can they do that against
I think
Kansas
they
City?
can. I thought that there were moments that James Cook was effectively running the football against Kansas City.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. If the Chiefs do win, last American sports team to win 3 straight.
The last American sport is probably the Lakers.
Was the
the
Lakers
Bulls.
with Kobe and Shaq.
Oh, Kobe and Shaq Lakers, not the Pat
99,
Riley.
2000,
Okay.
2001.
Yeah.
That's hard to do.
I've got it at 2000, 2001,
Well,
2002.
it's the other side of the seasons. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So that's the last time in major American sports we've had somebody go 3 in a row, and that includes college football too. Nobody's gone 3 straight.
You won't see that again either.
No more 3 straights.
I don't
in college
think so.
football. It's as hard in college football now as it is the NFL.
I mean, you can't keep a receiver because he's going to get $4.5 million.
208 days before college football, but we're in the heat of college basketball. The one and only Ron Slay is on the show when we come back. That's being brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill. You heard Lance talk about the lock. They bring you lanceslock.com, lanceslock.com, where you can go make a play on a good basketball game tonight. Maybe you want to stay up late and watch UCLA and USC.
Yes, we have 3 plays up tonight, 2 in the NBA, 1 in college basketball. We did have both winners yesterday with the Eagles and the Chiefs. Jump on board and win with us. Again, $100 a month gets you absolutely everything. It is always brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your heating, plumbing, and cooling needs. Any of these arise in your home or business, our friends, Adam, Chad, Andrew, ready to serve you. Call 205-229-2090. Tell them the next round sent you. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
All right, Auburn fans, I want you to become a member of thebarnauburn.com and join in on the fun. Whether it's recruiting discussions, off-season chatter, or the latest Auburn athletics news, we've got it all. Get $25 off your annual subscription when you sign up for your account at thebarnauburn.com today. War Eagle.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
When you crave activity like we do, you belong in the Roback family. Get the best golf wear, hoodies, and activewear for men and women at Roback.com. Use promo code TNR20 to get 20% off your order. That's Roback.com, promo code TNR20.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com. Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Ron Slay is about to lead us in a Weagle War Damn Eagle cheer, I think, after Auburn has vanquished the Tennessee Volunteers this weekend. Let's talk basketball. This SEC is so much fun every freaking day and night.
Yeah, Dunaway, first of all, Slay, hope you're doing well, buddy. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. Hey, boy, I'll tell you what, I don't need it from you all. You know, my co-host is Dawn Davenport. So not only have I been getting it from her and all the Auburn fans, but I've also got it from kids. I've had kids give me messages doing all this, man.
And you had to sit with Fish. You had to sit with Fishback the whole game. I mean, you couldn't get away from it, could you?
And you know what? Fish is so unassuming. Like, he sits there like he's so cool, calm, and collected. But I saw his stomach doing flips while he was watching the game. Like, he wasn't nervous at all. So I know the real Fish.
Hey, you thought that shot was going in, though, didn't you? You thought Ziegler's shot was in?
Oh, it did. It went in and came right back out, man. That was a heck of a game, though, man. Like, when especially a guy that grew up, watching the WWF and the Royal Rumbles and things like that. Like, that was right up my alley, boy. All I needed was them to put time on the clock and say 4, 3, 2, 1, and here comes the wrestler down the lane. That's all. I was right on board with me.
Slay, the good news is, being a Tennessee fan, is you're always a top 10 team and you've got a really high seed. But the bad news is watching this product. And again, let me pull that back. It's not a bad product. It's just aesthetically, it's not fun to watch. And we were talking about this. We talked about it last week. We talked about it earlier on the show. It's just got to be difficult for a Tennessee fan to watch 53-51 losses.
Yeah, and I know one thing too. Not to look too far ahead, but man, Tennessee fans better hold on to it, because at some point Rick Barnes will walk away, and all of this, what you're saying, being ranked in the top 25, ranked in the top 10. You'll need somebody else to come in and fill those shoes. But I do think that it is difficult at times. I think that's what it was so much fun watching Dalton Connect last year. And he was the separator in those games. And in a game when you talk about freedom of movement, like that's for his style. Somebody to give him the ball and face up and go one-on-one, the floor wide open. That's not necessarily the style of players he has right now. The guys he's recruited are system-like guys. They are coming into it, but the way his system works is more about body movement that frees you up and ball movement that frees you up, more so than giving a guy the ball and say, go get me a bucket. So, I mean, it is difficult to watch, and you know what he hangs his hat on, and that's defense. So the defense is what carries you. You would also expect for the aggressive style of defense that they play to be able to get out and run a little bit more. So I don't know what's happened to that. So it is a lot of questions about it, man. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, what are you looking for as a Tennessee fan? You looking for results, or you looking for fireworks?
I feel anxious again. It feels like you're in your wife's office again. Is she in a good mood this morning? We got plenty of time. Are we on the clock? Or
Now we good this morning. I've drawn up a contract until we get the Wi-Fi up in the boom boom room.
Very good.
I can do what I want to in this office.
Before she comes in and turns the lights off on you, limited half-court movement is the way I saw the description of what Tennessee did to Auburn. Is there another team in the league that could? Auburn runs a lot of exotic half-court sets. Yeah. Is there another team in the league that can take that away from Auburn, you think, in the half-court?
I think there's teams that want to, and when you look at them, I would think Mississippi State would love to. I think Texas A&M is a team that would love to because of the style of defense that they play. You know, Texas A&M plays a funky style of defense where they push everything towards the baseline. So you kind of want to stay off the wing when you're Auburn. Mississippi State, they want to play with that same physicality. You know, the matchups and things of that nature is just, it's hard, man. When you can't score or you're turning the ball over against Auburn, it's hard to get set. And I think one of the things that helped in this matchup, Auburn just missed a lot of open shots too. Tennessee, the same. A lot of the shots were contested, but a lot of shots that they make throughout the year, you're like, you'll take that all day long. Tahad Pettiford getting some good looks. Also, Miles Kelly getting some good. He made the two that really mattered the most. But I thought it was an adaptive game for Auburn. I think there's other teams that would love to slow them down because you keep them out of the 80s and 90s, you got a better opportunity. But it's more fun watching Alabama, Florida, Kentucky, and Auburn playing at the style they play, if you're a fan of it, though.
Ron Slay is with us, SEC Network and ESPN at the Ron Slay on social media is where you find him. There'll be a similar line of questioning when we get around to Alabama, but this win for Auburn was not without a little bit of drama with Jahki Howard getting into it a little bit with his head coach being sent to the locker room. You know Bruce Pearl very well. How difficult is that to handle as a head coach when it's that obvious a situation with a guy that's averaging 12 minutes a game for you?
Man, I think it's just difficult in this generation of athlete, as high strung as Coach Pearl and as locked in as he is while watching the game and coaching the game. It's hard to bring your disposition, if you will, back down to say, all right, let me settle down and talk to one of my players. I mean, you can't really do that, not in that high intense of a game. So Jahki Howard, man, I mean, you hate for this to have to happen, but I think we've seen this before. And that's when you need to bridge the system set in with the coaches, the assistant coaches, to be able to go grab the kids and talk to them and be able to try to, keep them settled, because the coach can't coach the game and be a guidance counselor at the same time, especially Bruce Pearl. That just doesn't work for him. He's too locked in, too into the game, got to talk to the officials, got to get the plays in. It's too much going on to try to console a guy at that time. So hopefully Howard gets it done, because the talent that he has, man, is next level. But I think at some point, man, the attitude got to match the talent, and hopefully moving forward he will be able to do that.
You were a former big that's dealt with an ankle situation, and you saw Broome go down on the 11th, so, from the game 2 weeks before. And I think a lot of people expected that he would play some, but to come out 33 minutes and go for 16 and 13 and to put forth that effort, I mean, just explain, as a big going on that ankle for the first time in live action and to have that kind of production, I mean, that was a hell of a performance.
That was amazing. That was amazing, man. I thought he did a terrific job of playing to his pace. Tennessee did a terrible job of speeding him up and putting him into action. Auburn did a great job of covering up for him, switching out when guys had to go out and defend the pick and roll, having another big go up there and do it. Offensively, man, Coach Pearl did some great jobs as far as sets of getting him straight line. The curl, one play that I know for sure that Beckham Mazar set the down screen and he curled around it. It was a straight line curl after that, and he got straight to the rim. So that was huge on Coach Pearl, putting him in those situations. But when you're big like that, man, you need the adrenaline to continue to go. Them playing at home was big. It being a top 10 matchup was big. Game day being there early, that was big. So you could also see when it was time to walk, he looked like he was a pirate walking the plank. But when it was time to run, he was fine as far as movement goes. So it's one of those things, man, when you slow down and stop, it starts throbbing. But as long as you keep moving at a rapid pace, you can kind of manage the pain. And he did a terrific job of it, man. I thought I would have loved to see him have to, and that, like, I know this is easier said than done, but I would have loved to see him have to fight for a position on the post, get into some screen and roll actions, some rescreen actions if you were the team that he was having to guard, like Tennessee in this case. So they need to do a better job of attacking that. But, man, you're looking at the National Player of the Year. I know Cooper Flagg is doing some phenomenal things, but for this right here, this is one of those Heisman moments. This almost brings you back to the time Byron Leftwich was out there battling, and his offensive line had to carry him to the next play. You know, like that was similar to that for me. That was a National Player of the Year moment.
Last time you were carried, was it out of a bar or on a course?
No, the last time I was carried was I was trying to crowd surf. That didn't go so well, so I was carried and dropped.
Oh, you got to tell us where you were crowd surfing.
Well, it was at Auburn, right?
No, yeah, it was Auburn.
Yeah.
I wanted to get up. Y'all didn't get to see behind the scenes. I wanted to get up in the air. The coconut man couldn't lift me. So I just went on down. I just went on down.
He needs bigger shells to lift you up.
The great Ron, strength, man. You got to get in a weight program.
The great Ron Slay is with us. Big words there on being National Player of the Year and Johni Broome. Auburn wins on TV2. In your studio, Alabama holds off LSU 80-73. When you see a player like Mark Sears sit the entire second half, what's going through your head?
Ooh, what is going on? That's exactly what. Wait a minute. But I also think that, man, we saw this throughout the year with Coach Oates. When you think back about 4 or 5 games ago, Alabama came out of halftime and was supposed to run a play and didn't do it. Coach Oates called the timeout immediately and met his team at half court and subbed all of them out with a platoon sub. That's you're granted that when you have the opportunity to have All-Americans coming off the bench, a guy like Prince Youngblood to come in that is a conference player of the year. You're getting other guys involved that like Aiden Holloway, who's a transfer over. So you got other guys that can come in there and fill that void. Now, I'm not for pushing forward, and this be a lesson that needs to be taught over and over and over, but I think it's early enough in the season, and I think also Mark Sears is mature enough to be able to handle it and respond the correct way, being the leader of this bunch. You can't do this with everybody. If you do this with certain players, you lose them for the year. You not only lose them for that game, you lose them for the year, and you maybe lose the locker room alongside with it. In this particular situation, I think Coach Oates has a relationship with his players. His coaching staff has a relationship with his players, that they understand that nothing is to show you up. You know, this is my opinion. I believe that Coach Oates has that conversation with him, and Mark Sears responds. He is the leader of this bunch. They want to make it to a Final Four again. You will not make it without Mark Sears. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So hopefully the lesson is learned, whatever that lesson may be. And I think Mark Sears, man, is a veteran. You don't score 2,000 points, man, and not have some bumps in the road along the way. This is nothing more than that.
And you mentioned the luxury, Slay, of having Aiden Holloway and LeBaron Philon. We know how you feel about Philon. You just talked about
Philon.
He's your guy. You just talked about Holloway. I mean, Nate Oates also knew. I'm with you, and I said this earlier in the show. People are like, boy, what if this sends Mark Sears in the wrong direction? Nate Oates is an exceptional basketball coach. I think he knew it wouldn't. I think that's why he does this.
Yeah.
And he also knew, I've got good enough guards behind him. I can win this game with those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And this, you don't want to give any games away. Now, no knock to Coach McMahon and McMahon and his staff, all players over at LSU. But I doubt you're able to be awarded this luxury if you're playing Florida or you're playing Kentucky on the road, or, you had an opportunity. You were able to send a message, kind of all aligned for you. You were able to do that and walk away with the victory, knowing the games that you got coming up this next stretch run for you. So I think the run they got between bookends with Auburn, playing Auburn and then ending with Auburn is, I think, 5 top 25 matchups. So I think it's best you try to get a grasp on everything right here and right now. But yeah, I'm with you, man. Like you know your players. You know, it's the same thing when you watch Coach Barnes come out into a post-game presser and talk about one of his players like Chaz Lanier and tell him, I told him, you don't want to shoot, you get paid to shoot. So you sit down over here next to me. Like, you know your players. That conversation's been had in the locker room, and it's going to be had even more. You know who can handle what.
20 games into the season and 7 games into the conference schedule. Bigger surprise, Missouri at 16-4, 5-2 in conference, or Arkansas at 12-8 and 1-6 in conference?
Man, that is a tough one, man. I think you split hairs with it, man. I think when you look at Dennis Gates, you know exactly what he's capable of. I think when you watch him last year, they had so many injuries that nobody was taking into account because the losses were so magnified. You didn't have time to look at the bench and be like, oh, where's Caleb Grill? You know, no, everybody, we really forgot about Caleb Grill. You forgot about him bringing guys back, being able to dive into the transfer portal, and the people he go get in the transfer portal, like Williams. You look at him and say, hey, man, don't look at what our record was, but look what the product is when you come to watch our practices, what we want to do. We want to get back to this. So I'm not as surprised about Dennis Gates because he's a fighter, you know, and his team is a reflection of him. You watch all these guys, Tamar Bates, Anthony Robinson, all of these guys, they act and talk just like him. So I'm not going to say that's much as a surprise. I am a surprise when it comes to the talent level, not being able to get the victory with Coach Cal at the helm, especially the way they're losing. Coach Cal, when his teams are good defensively, they're one of the top in the country. That's not the case right now. You got 3 7-footers down low, and you can't protect the basket. That's amazing to me. Boogie Flan just went out, but with him, I thought the dynamic duo with him and DJ Wagner in the backcourt was going to be next level. And then you add a guy in like Johnny L. Davis. What I'm seeing at Florida is kind of what I thought a glimpse of it would be looking into Arkansas, but it's not, man. So how do you come back from it? It's the real question. I think I'm a guy that believes in what your eyes show you. I'm not a numbers guy, and my eyes show me, man, that it's some tough sledding for Arkansas down the stretch, man. I'm trying to see how they get to 5 games won.
Speaking of numbers, in your entire life, have you ever led by 22 in the second half and lose a basketball game? That's what happened to A&M on the road against rival Texas. They're up 22 in the second half, and they lose that game. How does that happen? What has to go wrong for you?
Man, that's tough. I think going on the road, I think for fans watching, they don't understand how difficult it is to win on the road, that being 1. 2, that being a rivalry. 3, Coach Rodney Terry every single day preaches, stay right there in the moment. Do not look ahead. So I can imagine him coming out of halftime telling the guys, if you look up at the score, I'm taking you out of the game. Do not look at the score. We're playing basketball. Stick with that. And then it also helps to have a guy smooth as you can find as Trey Johnson. Good gosh, this young man, his level, I wish they could put the little test that they put on when they're in practice that keeps the heart rate. I would love to see what his heart rate is throughout a game, man, because it's got to be steady. This man never gets too high, never gets too low. And to be a freshman, he is phenomenal. A&M, they get a little stagnant. I think it's something that they're trying to figure out also with Zerk Phelps and Wade Taylor, how they play together. Because without each other, man, they tough. You got 2 Batmans on the team. How can they get efficient enough to play together and continue to keep Texas A&M rolling? But I also think, man, you can't put too much stock into it. It's a road loss. As long as you take care of home, you'll find it is difficult to win on the road, man. I will say too, though, I've never lost by 22, but I have squandered the season being number 4 in the nation and then getting bounced in the first round of the tournament. So
I'd rather lose by 22. Yeah.
Who'd you lose to? Do you remember?
Yeah, we lost to Charlotte my sophomore year. Rodney White,
Oh, wow.
Joby Thomas, and those guys in Charlotte. Rick Pitino was doing the game. I still can't stand Rick Pitino because he was commentating the game, doing the color, sitting by our bench, and he was talking crazy about us, and it was like we couldn't hear it. I didn't know he didn't know he like Rick. Nobody's at the game. We're playing in Dayton. You know what I mean? It's an 8-9 game, and nobody's there that early. We can hear everything you're saying, and the wildest thing was, I know a little bit of that was that Kentucky falling out of.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Kentucky and Tennessee. So he didn't want us to win, but he was jinxing us. He was jinxing us.
So have you had a conversation with him since that game, though?
No. I would love to, though. And let Coach Pitino know. I can't stand them from that game. All we needed to do was it was one of those situations, you get a win and everything will get on track.
Yeah.
And he kept on saying, I'm not sure if I would put such and such in the game right now. Oh boy, Slay, watch Slay right now. It was like, I'm like, come on, dog. Just call the game, man. Quit worrying so much about the details of our guys over here.
Here's the great Ron Slay. The Ron Slay on social media is where you find him. See him on the SEC Network at ESPN. Thank you very much, Slay. Always enjoy the time.
Appreciate it, fellas.
All right, buddy. Take care. Have a great week. Ron with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
And our friends at Odie's bringing us this part of the show. Trivia coming up on Wednesday. Always a great time for live music and lunch and dinner as well.
Yeah, stop by. Get you a big-time lunch today at Rodney Davis, but doing it for more than 3 decades. Award-winning wings, great burgers, fantastic sandwiches, including that Diablo sandwich, great chili as well. Perfect day for chili. Stop in, see Will Haver and that great staff. Birmingham Institutions, 2 locations, the original and Crestline. Newest location in Edgewood, ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light, and every single Thursday night at the original location, Odie's Team Trivia. Stop in, go see Will and that great staff. It's Odie's Tavern.
When it comes time to redo the room in your home, call my man Brad Bell, A-Plus Bath and Kitchen. A-PlusBathAndKitchen.com is the website if you want to see more. Brad's number is 205-422-1758. A couple years back, that is the number my wife called, Jennifer Brown, after scouring the internet looking for the right person to redo the master bath. Scott is showing you some before and afters from the master bath in my house. We just wanted it updated, wanted it a little bit darker. My wife gave that vision to Brad Bell, and it's the exact vision his crew did. His crews, by the way, were tremendous, on time every day, which is saying something now. They worked clean. They were efficient. At the end of the day, they would bring us in and say, here's the work we've done. We want to make sure it meets your specifications. Could not have had a better situation with them. You can do the same. Brad specializes in master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. Not all he does, but that's his specialty. Rooms you can enjoy while you own the home and make a little bit back when you go to sell your home, too, with a master bath, kitchen, or master bedroom closet redo. A-PlusBathAndKitchen.com, A-PlusBathAndKitchen.com, or 205-422-1758 for Brad Bell.
Not every joke hits exactly the way you want it to hit when you do it.
Don't we know it, Jim?
National championship celebration this weekend. Captain Jack Sawyer is at the microphone at the end of the parade. They're inside the horseshoe. The celebration is on, and he decides to do a funny that didn't actually hit exactly the way I think he wanted it.
And with that being said, I think it's a good time to announce that I'm coming back for my 5th year. I'm just kidding. Coach Day and Coach Johnson said it's time to get out of Columbus. But, man, what a special ride. And
wow.
The crowd went bonkers, as you saw, but, that's from
because nobody can keep up with it.
That's from the Lantern Sports, but it was the crowd went crazy, and then it was like, it's just like, the reaction, because you think, okay, he can come back. And,
surely he's got another year. Everybody does.
Yeah, and where we could pass before next year, the 5-5, and he's only played 4, but he's a guy that's going to go to the NFL, and I think he's one of those guys that probably would make more money coming back to Ohio State.
I don't think there's any doubt. Where would Captain Jack get drafted, do you think?
Third, fourth round? He's probably like a 4-7 guy.
Yeah, I mean, so you could make good money with his name.
Yeah.
And as beloved as he is, I mean, you heard the crowd reaction, right?
Oh,
That guy can make good money.
Yeah, I mean, he'd probably make $1 million.
Yeah, or more.
Oh, I think it'd be more.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't know what to believe on some of these numbers we see out there, but with Ohio State, I mean, obviously they're going to pay as much as anyone or more.
Well, Danny Cannell did a big rant on TikTok. He says these numbers are all agent-driven, that they're nowhere close to this.
Yeah, they're all inflated, but even if they're inflated by 30 or 40%, they're still big numbers.
So $4 million is really $2 million.
Okay.
Maybe.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, but there again, how many guys on a rookie contract are making $2 million in the NFL?
I agree with that.
Yeah, I know.
Well, what am I supposed to believe on Carson Beck?
The report is what, 4.5 or 4.2?
I think it's down to 4.
Down to 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 2.
I'd half it.
Yeah, probably did 2.
I could believe Miami would pay him $2 million to come play quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could believe that too. I mean, I think that, it makes sense with the numbers. If teams are really spending 20 to 30 million, that a quarterback would get, 10 to 15% of that.
Do you believe somebody's offering $4.5 million for Jeremiah Smith?
I do not.
No, but if you cut that in half, do I believe they're offering 2.25?
I could see that.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's a lot for a receiver.
I mean, we will see this. I mean, we'll get to the point unless new guardrails are put on, and we'll see what the valuation and rev share and all that does coming up in July. But we'll get to a point where somebody's getting $5 million. Like this year coming back, we're trying to figure out like who is the best quarterback in 2025. But when you have a clear-cut guy, one of those guys is going to make $5 million.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Because Jim Knowles.
Okay, let's get into that.
Right,
it's our Mercuri spotlight. If you can give me the spotlight here, Tyler, because I want to look at a couple of numbers. One of them is Jim Knowles, and one of them is another hire from USC. When you're ready, hit it, man.
The College Football Spotlight.
You can rent from McCurry. McCurry Van-A-Car Rental, the local rental company you can depend on. All kinds of vehicles to choose from. Trucks, SUVs, passenger vans. Easy to rent, in and out fast. Locations in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, 2nd Avenue Northwest in Coleman, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Reserve that rental today, 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com.
Okay, so Jim Knowles, you were about to bring him up. He leaves Ohio State to go to Penn State, and he gets a 3-year, $9.3 million contract. There's no speculation here. This is a legal contract.
It is a legal contract, I am told, and compensation per year. This is the biggest assistant coach contract in the history of college football. It's not hard to believe. It's a record.
Yep.
I just wanted to group it with Jeremiah Smith, and I know there are other ways to go on this with Jim Knowles. But if you're a Penn State fan, and let's say you could get Jeremiah Smith, let's say both of them are $3 million, which one would you rather have?
I would rather have Knowles.
I'd rather have Knowles.
For what reason?
Because the defense is 50% of the game, and the receiver can be game planned out of it. Receiver.
Not a lot of people game plan Jeremiah Smith out. Some did. Texas did.
Texas did.
I would just say the team that you lost to most recently played for a national championship because their defense was dominant under Al Golden.
It was less about Jeremiah Smith and more about Al Golden and Jim Knowles.
Yeah. And the team that runs your league also is where Jim Knowles was, too.
But I'd find a way to have both.
You would find $5.5 million.
Yeah.
$6 million in this case. It's a fascinating hire. To go from Ohio State to Penn State is a little bit of an odd move.
Well, we talked on Friday, the 4 people that were offering. And it was Oklahoma, it was Ohio State to stay, it was Penn State, and it was Notre Dame.
That's right.
And we knew all the offers. $3 million at Oklahoma. Ohio State was going to pay the most to keep him. 3.2 at Penn State, and Notre Dame was private. We didn't know the offer. And I think you said you would take Notre Dame.
I said I would have stayed at Ohio State, then Notre Dame.
Yeah. I said I would go to Oklahoma because of personal reasons. But Penn State was last on my list. I don't know about you guys. Penn State was last on my list, and that's the one he takes.
Well, I said if you want to not win a national championship, this is exactly where you go. I'm just assuming that Ohio State would have paid, and they paid him 2.2 last year. They would have matched this.
They would. Apparently, he grew up outside of Philadelphia.
Well, he's got ties everywhere, right? He loved Oklahoma.
He's the new John Gruden. He's got a house everywhere.
Apparently, he loved watching Penn State football when he was a kid. Blah, 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 blah.
I mean, I'm assuming that working for guys like Mike Gundy and then to Ryan Day is a lot different. So, who knows behind the scenes, how well did he mesh with Ryan Day's personality?
Yeah, I mean, you never know what's going on the part we don't see, right?
That's right.
But it would seem like Ohio State was they would have given you every dollar you're going to get from Penn State. This wasn't a money decision for this guy. I mean, Ohio State would have, as Lance just mentioned, you saw how much they paid to get a head coach to come be their offensive coordinator. And by the way, you were the better of the two coordinators, and paid to go lure guys away from Kansas State and Alabama and places like that to come play football for them. the money was not going to be an issue. So this can't be a money move.
They would have matched everything.
This has got to be I'd rather be in State College move, which is fine. I mean, I'm happy for the guy, but I'm with Lance. I'm glad you got your ring. I'm glad you got your ring in Columbus because I don't know that you're going to in State College.
Let's play connect the dots on money, though, just where we are in college athletics. USC now hires Notre Dame's general manager. Chad Bowden is going to make $1 million a year to be the GM at USC, tripling his salary at what he was making in South Bend. I don't know if South Bend would have mentioned.
To me, the general manager is maybe more important than your athletic director.
I would agree.
Courtney Morgan is who USC, the Alabama general manager, is who USC tried to hire at the start of last season, paying him. They offered him more than $1 million a year.
And he cashed in to stay in Tuscaloosa,
and he cashed in to stay in Tuscaloosa and to stay with Kalen DeBoer. They're buds, and he's a huge part of what Alabama does in Tuscaloosa, Courtney Morgan. So this position continues to grow.
Oh, it'll be a $3 million position.
Yeah. It will. You think it will get to be a $3 million
I
position?
do, because you'll start to see guys like, he's making $300,000 in what they were able to assemble. Look, and a lot of this is Marcus Freeman and his staff going out and recruiting these guys, but being able to balance everything with the money, the portal, I mean, that is a big-time headache job now.
I think two of the more these are hires nobody spends a ton of time talking about, and I get why. But when we're changing the landscape of college football, two of the more significant hires are that one you just mentioned, USC paying $1 million to lure away, and they were trying to lure away one from a historically good program and then went to another historically good program, right? They get the guy from Notre Dame. That and Tom Allen to Clemson, because Tom Allen left the job that Jim Knowles just took, and all the reports are he's not going to have to hit the road recruiting at Clemson. I'm just going to be a defensive coordinator. I'm going to coach.
I bet Jim Knowles doesn't either.
I would guess he doesn't. I don't think he was probably going to have to at Oklahoma either. That's one reason he wanted to go there. And that is changing the landscape of college football, I think, in a good way in the terms of Tom Allen, because it will allow you to keep better coaches in football. In college football, they won't go to the NFL. If I can eliminate on-the-road recruiting, that schedule we talk about that's so backbreaking is not near as backbreaking.
Absolutely not.
But somebody's got to pick up that weight. I mean, because obviously recruiting is the most important thing, but I guess a lot of these general managers
that's right. And
are
you
going to be picking up a lot of the weight.
Assistants and analysts.
And you got a staff of dozens, right? And those younger guys, they know, Lance, I can hit the road recruiting, and this is the way I'll climb the ladder. If I go land 3 or 4 5 stars, I'll climb the ladder in college football. I'm young and hungry. Tom Allen, not to say he couldn't recruit, but if you tell Tom Allen, you just come coach football and we'll let one of these young guys go sign 5 stars, he says, where do I sign up?
That's right. Let's go.
Yeah.
By the way, on the dollars and cents now, what's being paid. And then there's UCLA, who gets a $30 million infusion from the institution. UCLA, the university, had to put $30 million into athletics recently.
Well, I bet they hated that.
No, they do. They do.
Yeah.
Just to keep it afloat. 6 straight years, they have operated at a deficit on an average of $51.85 million a year.
And now they're paying Calamoni on top of that, right?
Now they're paying $10 million a year of their Big Ten money.
Yeah.
It's supposed to help out now. Big Ten money arrives this summer. They've got none of it yet.
Boy, they're dying for that check.
So that's why the $30 million went in, but it did not cover the $51.85 million they lost this past year, so they still operated at a deficit. 6 straight years, they've operated at a deficit on an average of $51.85 million a year. That's how much they've lost. That first check from the Big Ten for them is going to be somewhere around $65-75 million. And, that's going to fill the hole a little bit, but they're playing catch-up at UCLA. That used to be such a cool athletic department, and they are struggling financially. They believe in 6 years they've lost almost $250 million in athletics.
$250 million.
Almost $250 million.
I mean, at what point do you shut it down? I mean, they don't now because they're in the Big Ten. But if the Big Ten had not given them the bailout,
if they were not
survived,
if they were not in the Big Ten, they were in a bad position.
I think they would probably have to shut athletics down.
Yeah.
Which, becomes tricky because it's part of your student experience, and it's why, students want to come there. I don't know how much of that is sold at UCLA. Hell, their students don't go to games.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard this for 20-plus years, that they haven't had any kind of commitment to athletics.
Yeah, facilities keep dropping and everything. Just
beautiful campus, by the way.
Oh, it's a gorgeous place to go to school, I'm sure.
Yeah, but that's part of it. How expensive is it to operate athletics in Los Angeles? So there you go. That's the McCurry Spotlight, little financial from Knowles to general manager to UCLA. waiting. They're going to the mailbox every day waiting on that Big Ten check finally to come in.
Got to be direct deposit, right?
Yeah.
You just keep refreshing.
Yeah, tell us about McCurry.
McCurryRentals.com is where you go to rent those tough-to-find vehicles. McCurryRentals.com.
Okay, more football, college, more NFL football, back to basketball in a little bit. New York Butcher Shop is there for you for all the great meals. Did you make it a weekend without a trip to New York Butcher?
I actually did.
Wow.
But I've already been thinking about New York Butcher for this Monday night. Don't want to get out tonight. Whether I'm picking up one of those pre-prepared meals like the fantastic lasagna, a lot of great casseroles, incredible sides, but the steaks and the Duroc pork chop that Brown loves. Stop and go see Jim, all those great butchers. 2 locations for you. The original Cahaba Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. One-stop dinner shop from the fantastic selection of great desserts and fine wines. Rare quality, well-done service. It's the New York Butcher Shop.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, January 31st through February 2nd at the BJCC with customs, classics, hot rods, and more. Check out the exotic lineup in the Supercar South Hall, sponsored by Mob Inc. And don't miss the BMX stunt team performing outrageous stunts live. Friday only, meet All Elite wrestler Christian Cage. Saturday, it's Bill Carlton from Texas Metal. And Sunday, meet Oscar from The Office. Bring the kids for free Hot Wheels racing, costume characters, rides, and more. Get discount tickets at all O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Details at worldofwheels.net.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Roback's Game Day collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Roback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at roback.com.
No matter the occasion, the Next Round store has you covered with whatever you need. Head over to nextround.store and start filling your cart up now. When you wear your gear, make sure to let us know by posting on socials, and you might just end up seeing yourself during a commercial break. Go browse now at nextround.store and place your order before the break ends.
When the clock hits 0, go to all Next Round video platforms for instant reactions for the latest Auburn and Alabama basketball games.
follow, like, subscribe, and set those alerts. The madness starts now, so be a part of it at Next Round Live on all social platforms. We'll get to 4 downs in just a second, and then back to Auburn and Alabama basketball in the top of the hour here. Good to have Ron Slay on with us. Before we jump back to 4 downs, Ross Bjork at that celebration for Ohio State says Ryan Day will be the Buckeyes coach for years to come.
It doesn't sound like Ryan was trending that way. I mean, the story comes out over the weekend that they had to hire extra security for the family. That basically after the Michigan loss, they had to have a family meeting where his family's like, hey, we're behind you no matter what. If this goes south, we all go south together. I mean, it was desperate times.
Yeah, look, and I know they won 3 going into the national championship a week ago tonight. They had won 3 consecutive postseason games by double digits. But if they would have blown that game, I still don't know what his future is. I think he's probably still there, but I think everybody's so shell-shocked if Notre Dame would have actually come through with that comeback.
208 days from now, I guess it'll be a little longer than that before Ohio State and Texas play each other. Texas wins that game. And then later in the year, he loses to Michigan, and that's the only 2 losses of the year.
Next year?
Yep.
Well, he's back in the college football playoff.
Yeah, he's in the playoff, and he's a defending national champion. I think a national championship, now I say this in a state where one school fired a coach 2 years after winning their first national championship since the 50s.
I think technically it was months, not 2 years, less than 2 years.
Oh, well, I guess so if you want to be nitpicky about it. 22 months.
What's going to be fascinating for Alabama fans is to watch how good Julian Sayan's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will be.
If he's great, it's no harm, no foul. If he's not as good as Will Howard or anybody else at Ohio State, if he has growing pains, then he's got that could cost him a championship.
Let's say this: the Ohio State offense and talent makes you a much better player. Will Howard was good at Kansas State, but we talked about this last week. Avery Johnson came in, got his purple Corvette, and they ran him out of Manhattan. He wasn't good enough to be the starting quarterback at Kansas State, but look what he did at Ohio State. He's going to get drafted now.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, there were a lot of people saying at the start of this year they were winning in spite of Will Howard.
That's right.
Now, you watch him at the end of the year, that's impossible to believe.
He was different in the playoffs than he was in the regular season.
He was.
Part of that was coaching, speaking of which, we told you Jim Knowles gone from the national champs to Penn State. Chip Kelly, the other coordinator, is apparently in the mix or leading candidates for the Jaguars, Texans, and Buccaneers OC jobs. What if they lose Chip Kelly too?
Well, I mean, you still lean on the fact that Ryan Day is an offensive guy, and this, more so is the fingerprints of his offense. I think there was a lot of autonomy given to Chip Kelly this year. I just got a text from one of our Ohio State fans downstairs, and he said that back to what we were talking about with Jim Knowles and Ryan Day did not get along.
Yeah, that was they were saying this in the chat room that the On3 site that covers Ohio State reported they had a massive falling out during the postseason.
I mean, that's the only reason you go work for James Franklin.
I mean, I would have to think so.
Oh, so you're saying I'm going to get back at you right here.
Well, I mean, I just don't want to work here anymore. But yeah, I mean, the biggest FU is going in conference.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't think Ryan Day really worries about James Franklin.
I don't know how to say the Penn State offensive coordinator's name.
Andy Kolanecki.
Yeah, who's going to be one of the top. I mean, people love this guy.
Yeah, apparently he's only been shut out with no touchdowns twice.
Yeah.
And was his last game at his previous stop. Jim Knowles was at Oklahoma State, and it was no touchdowns against Ohio State this year.
I thought you were going
2 times he had no touchdowns.
I thought you were going to tell me speculation was Ohio State wanted to, if Chip Kelly leaves, go hire Andy Kolanecki from Penn State. That would be kind of funny.
Yeah. There'd be a lot of incestual transfers.
When do you think, though? I mean, we used to talk about this when a coordinator would leave Tuscaloosa under Saban. The line starts at the door, right? Who would not want to go be a coordinator in Columbus, Ohio, with the roster you get to coach? All the resources you could ever ask for.
Yeah, I mean, it's
you tell me, for most of the year, though, did it look like I had free reign on the offense if I'm Chip Kelly? I mean, it felt like we were playing with
the Michigan games where you really wanted
somebody holding the reins back on us.
You wonder what happened in the Michigan.
But to your point, like, I don't know if you're ever going to get the credit you deserve, but Jim Knowles did have the best defense in college football, and now he's making $3.3 million.
Yeah, a record contract.
Well, again, though, it felt like he had a falling out, though, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, the point of taking one of the coordinator jobs in Columbus, why would you not? It's high profile, it's a lot of money, and more than likely you're going to get something, you're going to get a head job out of it. Now, Knowles and Chip Kelly are a little bit different because they're a little older.
Yeah, they're older, and they're, would you want Chip Kelly at Tampa?
No, I don't. I said,
By the sounds of
I
it,
said
no.
that privately before we went on the air to you. I was like, oh, please, let's don't get Chip Kelly. And I'll go ahead and say it because we've gone an hour and 45 minutes without mentioning the Rams here. I said I would rather have anybody who's an analyst in Sean McVay's offensive room come and take over and follow Liam Cohen than I would to have Chip Kelly as my offensive coordinator in Tampa. I'd rather go young and just somebody who's been in the McVay tree.
For the record, I did mention the Rams in hour one because I was so beat up watching the Eagles dismantle the Commanders because that was the Rams game to host in SoFi and walk them off the field.
It wasn't an extended segment, so it blew past me there. So,
and by the way, I had to wear a little bit.
All right. Before we do our four downs, our friend Daniel A. Moore has got all the great artwork in Alabama football and basketball history waiting for you at the website danielmooreart.com, danielmooreart.com. That includes The Legend, a tribute to Coach Nick Saban and his 6 national championship seasons, the calendars you get every year with a little piece of work every month, a little tribute to the great moments in sports history. Use that coupon code TNR to get a saving there always. And things like Deuces Wild, the sack and the kick and all the great works, danielmooreart.com. danielmooreart.com, and our friends at Slice that brings us four downs.
Yeah, 5 great locations. Get in to see the Bajaya brothers, the late Jeff Bajaya. We all miss him. His legacy, he's the one that started Slice. His legacy continues to be celebrated by his brothers, Jason and Chris. 5 locations, the original Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, newest location in Edgewood. Local pizza, local ingredients. To check out that entire menu, go to slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
So, current job longer, Andy Reid or Nick Sirianni? By the way, Sirianni's impossible to like. Eagles fans don't like him. I don't think anybody else in the NFL likes him.
A 2-time Super Bowl coach and maybe a world champion, which
I know.
Of course, they fired the last guy that did that.
Doug Peterson.
Yeah.
Who then got fired from the Jaguars.
Do you like Sirianni?
I don't, but I guess I missed why people hate him. Why do hate him?
He seems kind of like your kind of guy, though.
Oh, wow.
No, I mean, he's like a Tony. He's like
a Tony. He's an asshole?
Oh, yeah, he is. Yeah. Big time.
Yeah.
And you kind of like those guys.
I mean, he went after his own fans.
Yeah.
Yeah. He, and I just.
It seems like a pretty easy fan base to yell at, though. I mean,
I just don't know what Sirianni does. Does Sirianni seem like a good coach? I mean, obviously he's got them back to back.
It's hard to say he's not.
This could be the best roster in all of football.
How can you say he's not a good coach, though?
Well, I'm just asking.
I know, but you know how hard it is to make a Super Bowl, and he's done it twice in 4 years.
Who's the best roster in football, you think?
Oh, it's Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think it's Philly.
Yeah, it is top to bottom.
Even with Hurts at quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's going to 2 Super Bowls with, where would you rank Jalen Hurts as quarterback in the NFL? Give me a number.
Yeah, I mean, last year the best roster because they were healthy was San Francisco, and they did it with Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
So
where would you rank Jalen Hurts?
Middle of the pack.
Middle of the pack. You know how hard it is to make a Super Bowl with a middle of the pack quarterback. He's done it twice now, so I think that speaks to the depth of that roster.
Yeah, I just remember hearing like big time analysts say the only coach they worry about is Nick Sirianni messing things up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I think he probably does a pretty good job of delegating and letting Kellen Moore run that offense.
I mean, Andy Reid, has he passed all the? If he gets the three-peat here, that's history. To sound like Bruce Pearl, that's history. Has he passed? He hasn't passed Don Shula yet, has he?
Number of wins?
Yeah.
No. Belichick's closest there.
Yeah.
I don't even know how
I will tell you that Mahomes is going to shatter all these records. When you talk about, he's already number 2 on postseason victories behind just Tom Brady.
Like I didn't think he could catch Brady in Super Bowls, and he's going to catch Brady maybe.
You see the gap in postseason wins?
What, between Tom Brady and him?
Yeah.
Well, what is he got 19 now? What does Tom Brady have?
I know we're in the middle of 4 downs, but can you?
I would say that Brady's got close to 30.
Per the NFL, and this is from the NFL, Mahomes is number 2 in postseason wins already in 7 years as the starter. Tom Brady 35, Patrick Mahomes 17, most playoff wins all time by a quarterback. So he's not halfway there yet.
Well, I thought yesterday, I thought he had 18. I thought it was 19, but I could be wrong.
That's from the NFL after the game.
But do you think Mahomes is halfway done with his career?
Well, he started 7 years, so 7 more at this rate.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to get there.
It's going to be hard.
I didn't realize. I thought Tom Brady was in the 20s. 35 is crazy.
35 NFL playoff wins. I assume you count the Super Bowl. Now, on rings, this would be the 4th if he wins that one. And Brady's only got 7. I mean, only 7. But, I mean,
he could get to 7 if he can win this one.
I just don't see it.
It's hard to get to 7. But the guy's unbelievable.
If this is an updated number, Reed's at 273. So Shula finished at 328. I mean, it's doable.
I don't know how important that is.
I don't either. It seems important. People said it was important for Belichick. It's why he wanted another job.
But he's opted out of that now to college.
I mean, he's still 26 short. Belichick is.
I'm going to say Reed is there longer, but he could retire after this year.
Yeah,
so.
I mean,
question.
Sirianni, you guys remember, and look, coming out of the bye, they changed things up, and look, it really has worked out. So you do have to give him credit in that organization. But he was on a hot seat back in September. And look, and I know he's in another Super Bowl 2 in 3 years, so I think it'll cool off a little bit. But he is an unlikable guy. If he has a bad year, much like you said, Doug Peterson got blown out, I'm going to say Andy Reid as well.
Second down.
Who gets to a Super Bowl first, Josh Allen or Jaden Daniels?
So Josh Allen is now the first quarterback in NFL history to lose 4 straight playoff games to the same quarterback. That's history. And Mahomes, you say, is only halfway done. So at some point, he's got to go through Mahomes. Jaden Daniels does not have to go through Mahomes.
Might have to go through Stafford.
But for how much longer?
Really go through Stafford and Mahomes, for sure.
No, it's so much. The path is so less difficult. And I think Jaden, though, is already the best quarterback in the NFC. Yeah. Of course, Josh is probably the best quarterback in the AFC, and it's hard to say because he just got beat again.
Okay, it's funny, though. You say the path is so, and it is. I agree with you. But Super Bowl champion, NFC 20, NFC 21 with your Rams, my Bucks in 20, and you think the Eagles win it this year. So, I mean, I understand the grind on winning 3 playoff games or 4 playoff games to get to a Super Bowl. It's a bigger grind in the AFC for Allen, but apparently it's pretty split on who the best team in the NFL is. I mean, the NFC's been winning their share of Super Bowls here. I mean, it's the Chiefs, and we'd have 3 different NFC teams here. You know, is the AFC really that good in the postseason, or is it just the Chiefs?
I mean,
the
you
NFC
say
has
that,
a variety of teams.
Like, let's go back and let's look over the last 25 years just because of the 2 quarterbacks we've talked about, Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, but
I mean, how much is really
time.
the NFC? How much have they fed?
How many of those guys are still playing? If you go 10 years now, the numbers probably are pretty split, 50-50, right? Because your Rams.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rams have got 1.
Yeah, Bucks have 1. Eagles already have 1. Could have another one. You think they win this game? So I do agree with you. It does seem like a bigger blender with Lamar and Josh and Patrick to get through the AFC side. Something tells me the Bills will get there before the Commanders get there. Felt like it was a special season this year.
You know,
Jaden is great. I want to see him do it a second year.
Normally you would worry about, well, they're going to start to lose parts. But, I mean, what parts does Josh Allen have? You know, I mean, James Cook. I would not want to lose James Cook.
Yeah. But Terry McLaurin?
McLaurin, listen, McLaurin just had a career year.
Yeah, is he going to do it again?
He is really good.
Well, I don't know, man. He is so good.
Now, they've got to figure something out. Like, Eckler just was kind of in the twilight of his career. If they would have had Eckler 4 or 5 years ago, and then Brian Robinson's just solid.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they need more weapons. Like Zach Ertz, you won one of our props yesterday on Zach Ertz.
They threw a check down to him all game.
I just could not believe that Buffalo wasn't trying to do the same things with Kincaid yesterday.
Yeah. I agree. I
mean, Goddard and Ertz were the offense in that game.
So I'm going to go Allen gets there first.
I'm going to go Allen just because I think he is a better quarterback right now. But, man, I don't know. I mean,
I
mentally,
think I would go Jaden Daniels.
When does it start to roll? You got to have your head coach, though, that blew a 4-possession lead in the Super Bowl still wears his hat backwards.
He does. He does still wear his hat backwards.
Third down.
That is not what kept him out of the Super Bowl yesterday.
And again, I know as soon as I complain about the hat backwards, and the first time I did this, I said the same thing. As soon as I say that, it'll be an Aaron Andrews or Tom Rinaldi piece right before the Super Bowl. He wears it backwards for some kid in a children's hospital somewhere.
Didn't Trooper Taylor make that up or something?
Well, I don't know if he made it up.
But it was for somebody. Yeah,
it was his dad. His dad used to turn around
his hat when he'd leave
so
for work,
kiss him on his way, because he was still asleep.
Yeah. Well, what happens? You can come up with a great story if people dog your ass out, right?
Yeah, I mean that's that. If Dan Quinn cared, which he doesn't, he should come up with a story and leak it to Aaron Andrews.
National Chocolate Cake Day. First of all, where does chocolate cake rank with you guys as far as desserts, and who has the best?
It can be the best dessert.
I never have it. I like it a lot. I just never have it.
Can be the worst dessert if you go and it's like
dry chocolate cake.
Some restaurants are dry, almost a little cold, like it's been in a refrigerator, and it comes out. It can be horrible at that point. But if it's made at home, and it's still warm, it is absolutely delicious.
Do you what's your favorite kind of chocolate cake? The yellow cake with chocolate icing?
No, I like chocolate cake with chocolate icing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So like the devil's food almost type.
But I don't like German cake.
Chocolate. Too much coconut on that. I like the concept of German chocolate. There's just too much coconut. I've got a texture thing with those.
Yeah.
Who does have the best chocolate cake around?
Oh God, I don't even know. I haven't had it in forever.
I don't know. And I don't
eat a lot of chocolate cake.
lava cakes. I don't throw lava cakes into this.
Yeah. No.
It's almost a souped up brownie.
Yeah, too exotic there.
Yeah, we've done this before, but given the choice at a restaurant, I'm going pie 100 times before I go cake. So, I mean, I can't remember last time.
I don't know about that, bro.
I do.
Our buddy Travis's at Oak House on Friday night, and they have that cheesecake with the apple, the fresh apple on top.
I don't even like cheesecake, and that is good. I've tried it.
It's one of the best desserts I've ever had.
I don't even like cheesecake, and if somebody orders that at the table, I'm getting me some.
I'd go pie before cake every time.
Every time.
I think most guys do go. We had this debate a long time ago. We were out at Shoal Creek.
That's right. Pie far better than cake.
Yeah, but it's funny, Tyler. Like the women like cake better than pie.
I'm telling you, pie can be horrible, though.
Well, cake can too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to pick a bad pie. Like if it's rhubarb pie.
No, an apple pie can be very bland, very mid.
A chocolate cake can be bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
other than an apple pie, pecan pie can be very mid at time. Tell me other kinds of pies that are good.
Oh, pumpkin pie is great.
Yeah.
Pumpkin pie
Sweet
is
potato
good.
pie is good.
Chocolate pie is fantastic.
Lemon icebox, key lime pie, caramel pie,
coconut.
I'm not a huge coconut fan, but I mean, pies are fantastic.
Strawberry cake.
Oh, it's really good.
It's really good, and usually.
But
very
if I say
consistent.
strawberry cake, you guys know where the go-to is.
I do, and it's
that's
very
what's
moist.
interesting about chocolate cake.
I can't think of the go-to.
I've never had somebody say this is the best chocolate cake out there.
I assume if I went to the same place, would their chocolate cake not be good?
I would assume.
Oh,
but
I think all their cakes are good.
But it's just hard if you're at that
with
place.
EG on that.
Yeah.
She usually has it for breakfast.
E.G., I've seen her eat cake for breakfast.
I'm not surprised. I mean, she eats Haribo gummy bears for lunch.
I know. I wish I had that metabolism still.
Yeah.
4th down.
Captain Edward Smith would have been 175 today.
Yep. First man on the moon.
Yep. Jim said.
Is he the guy that stumbled? Is he the guy that stumbled across Australia?
No.
Down to Australia.
Captain Edward Smith was he was the guy behind the Titanic. So if I asked you, better career, Captain Edward Smith or the captain from Captain and Tennille?
Well, he didn't. Captain from Captain to Tennille did not end up at the bottom of a frigid ocean, so I'm going to go with him.
I don't think it was all on him, though.
It wasn't, but
his coordinators were to blame, too, right?
At some point, the head coach gets fired if you got a bad season.
I got to give him credit. He stayed on board, though, right?
Yeah, he went down with the ship.
He did, but at the moment they were going through icy waters, should he really be on a break at that point? That's when I need you on the bridge.
I think he was just taking a nap, wasn't he?
I thought he was off having tea or something.
Well, I had those two guys up in the crow's nest watching.
Yeah, you got to have somebody you can trust.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you got to take command and say, I'm not going through the icy waters. This is going to take a little longer. We're going to go a little further south. We're going to loop this thing in the
No, I agree with you. Let's go some warmer waters, even if it takes a couple of days.
So he had a horrible game plan.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I'm going
But
Captain
it was an unsinkable ship. At least that's what the architects who were on board told him.
Based on the movie, that architect
I
got
think we've
himself
all
on a
done
boat.
deeper dives or at least some kind of research on the Titanic, but I know nothing about Captain and Tennille.
I really don't either.
Like, she used to lay across the piano, right, and he would play with the captain's hat.
She was from Montgomery, right?
Yeah, I do know that I think they had a variety show at one point. Maybe.
But did he have a name or was he just the captain?
He was just the captain. I mean, he had a name, obviously, and it's not his birth certificate, but my parents liked him. There was a horrible song called Muskrat Love.
Oh, I hated that song. Yeah.
I can't remember what
Is that good or bad love?
I can't remember what their big hit was.
Oh, his name's Daryl Dragon. What a name, Daryl Frank Dragon.
Yeah, what was? They had a couple of big hits, though.
Yeah, and they were married, right?
I don't know.
I don't know.
No, I think they were.
His name was Frank Dragon?
Frank Dragon. What a good name.
Was he Asian?
No. He was not related to Ricky the Steamboat either.
Yep.
Frank Dragon.
Let's see how
Don't go breaking my heart. Was that them?
Nope,
No, that was
Elton
Kiki
John
and
Kiki Dee or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Kiki
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
I've got a list of songs here. Love Will Keep Us Together.
That's it.
Yeah.
That was their
very,
hit.
very
Lonely
close
Night.
to that song.
Yeah, love will keep us together.
I'm on my way.
They
we probably had to pay royalties for that rendition.
Hey, so to speak about him, he and Tennille got divorced after 39 years. So they made it through a musical career, married, and post-career got divorced. But when he died 5 years later from kidney failure, she was by his side. So
That's sweet.
yeah, still had some love for him there. I don't know. I don't know much else about the guy. He died of a failed kidney. I mean, what else y'all want to know about him?
Well, I mean,
That's it.
so are you going Dragon or are you going
Well, look, when he
Titanic?
died of a failed kidney, 700 people didn't sink to the bottom of the ocean with him.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with that.
And it wasn't a coaching decision that caused the ship to wreck. So
Does he take the mass blame, though, for the iceberg?
He's got
he's
to.
the captain.
He's the captain.
Yep.
Sorry, man.
That is 4 Downs, brought to you by friends at Slice.
Lunch or dinner, get a slice and a salad a day, pick up a couple of pizzas on your way home. 5 locations, from the Hot Mama to the Bajaya Special, the Soul Pie. You're going to love it. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
You guys excited? Tonight is the ACC football schedule release.
I am not excited.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll probably miss that one.
Yeah, I'll look at it to see if I can, get some SEC TV times out of it maybe, but other than that.
That's happening tonight on the ACC network, or maybe today. At some point today, the ACC will release their schedule. Top of the hour, Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. They will help you jumpstart your weight loss in 2025. They can help you with meal replacements, injection therapies. Everything you need to know is on their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. The opportunity to meet Leslie and her board-certified team and find out what they have to offer you. All you have to do is go to that website and schedule up a free consultation. There's no contracts. And you're right there. No out-of-pocket money before you get rolling. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. When we come back to big wins for Auburn and Alabama in SEC basketball, and more from the NFL championship weekend. Chiefs and Eagles heading to the Super Bowl. This is the next round.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, January 31st through February 2nd at the PJCC. With customs, classics, hot rods, and more. Check out the exotic lineup in the Supercar South Hall. Sponsored by Mob Inc. And don't miss the BMX stunt team performing outrageous stunts live. Friday only meet All Elite wrestler Christian Cage. Saturday it's Bill Carlton from Texas Metal. And Sunday meet Oscar from The Office. Bring the kids for free Hot Wheels racing, costume characters, rides, and more. Get discount tickets at all O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Details at worldofwheels.net.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, E.g., that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan-Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to Fall Saturdays. Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com and click on the Refresh collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, here we go. Final hour of the show here, brought to you always by our friends at Champy's Chicken, a story that we thought had gone away in just a second. Champy's never goes away, over a decade right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster. He is sterling. He has built that chicken empire right there. There's a lot of Champy's around the area in our viewing and listening area, but there's only one that Sterling runs right there at the same location. He brines that chicken overnight. It is cooked to order. It is absolutely delicious. He has such a high quality, a high standard of what the food has to be before it's served to you. That includes those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, all the great sides. Everyone who goes by there, all of our viewers and listeners always come back and get in the chat room and they say, man, that is fantastic food. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go and check it out. All right, for weeks, you guys have been saying, man, that Todd Golden story at Florida sure has gone away, man. It sure has gone away. Well, now the attorney for Todd Golden has issued a statement.
It sure has gone away.
It sure has gone away.
Yeah, he says basically the school has informed him that the Title IX investigation of Todd Golden has been dismissed and that the investigation into the allegations, there was no evidence found to support those allegations.
Coach Golden appreciates the support he and his program have received from so many at the university and from around the country. Now that this is concluded, Coach can continue to focus on the basketball season and consider his legal options in the off season, but now it's time to move forward. So he's leaving open the opportunity for some legal options down the road.
I think I'd probably shut down the Alligator or whatever that student newspaper is, because boy, they went scorched earth.
Yeah, it needs to. The student newspaper needs to face some sort of consequences, or at least the reporters that were behind the story.
I mean, it is just such bullshit in 2024, now 2025, that you can just throw these allegations out there. And if there's nothing to it, then there should be some kind of recourse.
Yeah, and whoever made the allegations, there should be some sort of recourse. Because right or wrong, a lot of people won't see this part of the story.
Sure won't.
And they'll always think of Todd Golden as some creep that's sending pics to girls, right? Trying to pick girls up on campus. And that's what a lot of people will always think of Todd Golden when an investigation has found there was absolutely no merit to support that. And that is very, very unfortunate, and it's all too often this happens. And let me tell you, it doesn't just hurt Todd Golden. Todd Golden will be fine. He's a great basketball coach. He's getting paid a ton of money. But what it hurts are future people that have allegations with merit. And now because people bring meritless allegations to try to make a buck or do whatever, the ones that actually have merit, you're less inclined to believe.
Yeah,
because
the
of
next
this.
Florida student or
That's
the
right.
next college student.
Well, and look,
Yeah.
he's got a destination job. You know, I mean, Florida's one of those jobs you can stay at, have an incredible career. You can win national championships. You make all the money in the world. But, you know, I mean, if this wasn't one of those jobs, you know, it might be baggage that goes with him. It might, you know, although there might be nothing there at all, people are going to do a double take. And by the way, Todd Golden's married, so his wife had to go through a lot of stuff.
Oh, I can only imagine. So that's from Todd Golden's legal team today that, according to them, Florida has informed them that the investigation's over with. And Florida was set on game day, and a lot of people believe after they beat Georgia by a 30 spot that could be the third best team in the SEC and a national championship contender behind Auburn and Alabama. Florida is that good. This week, Florida, no midweek game, and then on Saturday they're at Tennessee.
Yeah, it's a tough time to catch Tennessee. It'd be better Saturday than Wednesday.
Yeah, and then 2 Saturdays they get Auburn down at Neville Arena. So a couple of big games coming up for Florida. By the way, the week ahead for Tennessee, coming off the loss to Auburn, home to Kentucky Tuesday, home to Florida Saturday.
I don't know about Kentucky, though, man. That's a team that is – just a couple of days ago, we were talking about Mark Pope as maybe National Coach of the Year, and I don't know that Kentucky's going to be able to support that all year long.
They just lost to Vanderbilt on the weekend, and if you're scoring at home, that's another fine because they rushed the court again. And here's the history of Vanderbilt this athletic year. Back in October, they beat Alabama in football, and they rushed the field in Nashville, and they took the goalpost down Broadway to the Cumberland. $100,000 in fines from the SEC and goes to Alabama, by the way.
That's right. Goes to Alabama, and everybody was like, man, that was worth it. You pay that $100,000 every day, man.
2 Saturdays ago, they beat Tennessee, rival Tennessee, and they rushed the court. $250,000 to Tennessee. This past weekend, as it looked like they were going to beat Kentucky, what was the athletic director doing, Brownie? Candace Lee, what was she doing?
She was walking around in front of the student section, basically begging students, please don't rush the court.
Please.
She literally was telling some, it's going to cost us $500,000.
Yeah.
Let's keep that $500,000 and put it in our NIL instead of giving it to Kentucky to put in theirs.
Yeah, let's don't rush the court.
Which not one person in that student section probably believed they would actually put the $500,000 in their NIL, but
they beat Kentucky, and as you saw in the graphic, $500,000 that goes to Kentucky's fund now, the athletic fund. Don't know how they'll spend it, but
you think Stoops and Pope are going to fight over it?
Yeah. So
by the way, that was a fun game to watch.
$850,000 in field and court storming fines this year for Vanderbilt. The fine doesn't go up, but they've got number 1 Auburn coming to town soon, and if they somehow beat Auburn in Nashville, you know they'll rush the court again because their head coach says, we'll just get a GoFundMe page.
yeah, it's coming. That's the only other one, though. I was looking at the remainder of their schedule. They host Texas. That's their next home game. You don't rush for a win
No,
over
they're not
Texas.
doing that.
Other than Auburn, they play host to Ole Miss. You wouldn't rush on Ole Miss, Missouri, and Arkansas. That's it. So
unless they walk it off with a half-court shot or
some
something.
sort of crazy celebration.
So what is the fourth fine going to be?
It stays at $500,000, but every time it's $500,000. Like all of a sudden, it's the Vandy boys have a great year and you rush the field in baseball.
Never seen that happen.
It's another $500,000.
Is that in perpetuity? Like, is that for the rest of their life, or does it
at some point it resets? I don't. You'll have to.
If you go so long without a storm,
yeah, it's kind of like points on your license.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think it resets
Rotates
at some
off?
point.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But that's a big year of fines. But
I wonder if
you know how you pay for it. You make the NCAA tournament.
That'll help.
You get $2 million just for making the tournament.
I would assume that there's a good chance we'll be in Nashville in a month and a half.
Yep.
And you wonder, can they play like that in the city of Nashville? Although it's not in their gym, it's not Memorial.
Yeah. Probably not.
Probably not.
History has shown that.
It's a pretty good team, though.
I think so, too.
This is a team you've already seen.
I saw them in person in Tuscaloosa. They did not look like they were athletic. They looked totally different on Saturdays on television than they looked in person. That was a 19-point game. Alabama led them throughout.
Well, I just didn't think it was flukish at all. You know, back and forth against Kentucky. I mean, there was a reason they were only catching 2.5. It was the lock on Saturday. But, man, there was nothing flukish about the Tennessee had to battle back to make that a one-possession game.
Oh, yeah. But that team didn't look that way when they were in Tuscaloosa. Even though they did score, as Nato has pointed out, 56 in the second half. against Alabama, but Alabama still held on to win that game. All right, so there's Vandy's fines and the Todd Golden situation. Back to Alabama and Auburn's wins after we tell you the show. Being brought to you by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision.
Yeah, make the phone call that I made more than 2 decades ago. I wore the contacts and solution. I was wasting money each and every year on that. Maybe you wear contacts, maybe you wear glasses. Stop procrastinating. At least make the phone call. Find out if you're a candidate and just check out more information on Michelson Laser Vision. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. I have 2015 vision, better than 2020. 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
Chad Baker-Mazzara, no field goals. Denver Jones, no field goals. Their points came from the free throw line. Broome had a huge game. Chaney Johnson had double digits. But the 2 biggest shots of the game were the only 2 that Miles Kelly made, including the corner 3 that put Auburn eventually up to stay with 30 seconds to play. Here's Miles Kelly on that shot.
Miles, you kind of take me through the 3-pointer at the end, kind of we see it come open, Johni kicking it out to you and just having the confidence to knock it down after it had been such a tough shooting game for a lot of y'all.
Right, me and Johni were just talking about this on the walk here. He went up, missed a layup, and I was backing out to the 3-point line. As soon as he seen me, he was like, "OMK open." He threw it to me. As soon as it left my hands, I knew it was good. Like those are the moments that I live for.
Oh.
Miles got some Jimmy Butler eyes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. I've noticed that. It was funny that a shot block is what led to that, because once the shot gets blocked, everybody's kind of going after the ball. It goes right back to Broome, and now your defense
is all over the place.
It's all over the place. And wisely, Miles Kelly is just like, I'll just back out here in the corner and see if they find me.
I give that crowd a lot of credit, because you would think, a game that you barely break into the 50s is going to rock you to sleep. But, I mean, that last 5 minutes was still electric.
It was. Tough watch. Good finish. Tough watch. I mean, it was, if you like rock fights, it was. I
don't know anybody that, I get when people are like, man, a 9-6 overtime LSU win in Tuscaloosa, man, that is a fun brand of football to watch. I don't know who likes this brand of basketball.
That one particular game was well played at 9-6.
Well, I mean, I think you get some of that in football. Basketball, it just seems like there's a lot of forced turnovers.
Like in baseball, a 2-1, 1-0 game can be great.
Fantastic,
or it can be horrible, but it can be great too, depending on how it is. And I'm not saying all 53, 51 games are tough watches in basketball, but the way Tennessee plays, when the officials let them grab and hold and do all that, it's a tough watch.
Well, these are what you used to get with, Dean Smith running a 4 corners offense where, pre-shot clock. I mean, it's really, really difficult to only score 104 points in 40 minutes of basketball.
But Auburn decided, and I don't know if this was a conscious coaching decision or if this is just what the game devolved into, we'll play it like Tennessee did. I mean, to Billis's point, Broome basically grabs and turns a guy and gets no call. I mean, they were basically saying, we're going to let you guys beat each other up. If y'all want to beat each other up, be my guest.
It's the only way you can play it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know that it was Bruce Pearl saying, if they're not going to call it, guys, y'all get as physical as you want, or if you just get sucked into that by Tennessee.
It's like in football, man. If they're letting you grab and hold the wide receivers, my team's got to grab and hold too.
Yeah.
If we're going to play that way, it's the only fair advantage. 11 straight wins for Auburn. And, interesting schedule on the road at Ole Miss, home to Florida over the next 4 games. Should be fun. Alabama holds off LSU 80-73. Cut number 3, here's Nate Oates talking about a change in the starting lineup where LeBaron Philon did not start and Chris Youngblood did start the basketball game in the win over LSU. Here's Nate.
I talked to CY. He's like, Coach, whatever you need. I mean, he's like such a great kid. Like, doesn't care whether he starts, doesn't start. We've had a lot of really good kids come through this program. He's at the top of that list, and he doesn't really care whether he starts, just wants to impact winning. I thought he impacted winning tonight. Started out 5 for 5, start the game. I mean, Jaron led us in plus minus with plus 16, and CY was right there at plus 10. Those were the only 2 guys in double digits on plus minus. So, I thought, Mo Diabate, we know, does things well, but those are the top 3 guys in plus minus. Well, they play hard. They're all about the team. They're not, not into their own stats at all. They just want to do what it takes to win the game, and they just so happens they're the 3 guys that led us in plus minus tonight.
Jaron Stevens, by the way, plus 16.
That was
Chris Jumbo plus 10.
Definitely a dig.
A dig at who?
At Sears.
Well, I mean, I think it's again, this is an ongoing.
No, Nate knows what he's doing.
It's an ongoing line of commentary by Nate Oates, though, talking about he has criticized leadership on this team more than once.
And the starters. He
said
we're not getting the start of the game the way we want.
That's right. So, I mean, those are not necessarily some of the guys he talked about, not necessarily your top-end guys.
Yeah, I mean, and he didn't reference Grant Nelson, who had a bad first half.
Yeah, I mean.
I don't know if Grant's a very vocal guy, though.
Ended up, Grant did with 12 in this game. Fine line battled, didn't start, played, and got 11. This is the point of the season. It's a long season. They're winning, but we talked about this in the offseason. At one point, you had 13 guys that we thought, okay, they're 13 guys, and I think all 13 of them think they would start somewhere.
And they're probably right. They probably would start for 90% of teams out there.
And Wrightstill's hurt, so that freed up a spot. Millett is redshirting. He's hurt. And that's going to lead to a medical red shirt. Reed is out still, so that's freed up some playing time. But you have a lot of guys who think they should be starting and playing.
I still think that he's got 8 reliable guys that can do a lot of different things for this basketball team. I wonder how well they're going to shoot it consistently moving forward. Like, I don't know how well they shoot. As far as like behind the arc, like
they're not a great 3-point shooting team.
Like Nate's teams are always focused on scoring behind the arc and hitting the three. But 7 of 23, I mean, they're kind of around and I don't have the numbers in front of me. They're probably right around 30%.
What number do you want? Alabama's 3.
Yeah, just 3. Because outside of Holloway, I don't know who I mean, when Sears is on, obviously, but you don't have consistent guys.
To your point, Taylor said this at one point in one of our post-game shows about how it's hard for me to say this because they keep scoring 100, but it doesn't look like Alabama really shoots the ball well. And I said, that's not crazy. They're getting so many points at the rim and in the paint, which as an
and from the free throw line.
Yeah, and the free throw line. But as an Alabama fan, you got to think to yourself, man, if we can ever start hitting 3-point shots like we're capable of doing, there's another level of where this team could go, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
If they ever start making their shots on a given night, if they make their shots, then this team is going to be a tough out.
So 32.5%.
Yeah, which I think is
that's
about where they were last year.
I can tell you where that ranked. I was going to see where it ranked nationally, but I mean, in search of joke here, I've only got the top 50. That's all I've got on this page.
And Wrightsell was shooting 42% before he went out, and then Holloway's at 41%.
Brown, I think they're in the 70s, high 70s, low 80s when it comes to 3-point percentage.
Nationally?
Yeah.
Millett was shooting 50% before he goes out, and Sears shooting right at 35%.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, everybody else is below average.
If I remember
Alabama
correctly,
is 249th in the nation, 32.46%.
Wow, that's different
20
than
games.
79.
Yeah, a little.
That's not good.
I'd say a little.
Yeah. 249.
But you know what? They're not going to stop doing shooting threes.
No, that's their offense, and it again puts to rest this tired old narrative. If Alabama's not hitting their threes, they can't win. No, I mean they're scoring 100. They're having 100-point games, and they're not a great 3-point shooting team. That is a false narrative about this offense.
Yep.
Is that if you don't hit threes, you can't win games. They're winning games, and they're 250th in the nation in shooting threes.
Yeah. 249, Brown. Let's don't pile on.
I've rounded up.
Yeah. All right. Back to the NFL. Brown's got a point to make on the championship Sunday after we tell you about our friends at Hemp Hill Services. A little warmer today. Low only got to 44. A little rain keeping it in the 50s. Soon enough, man, we'll have that cool, nice spring weather here, and that'll be a great time to get it checked.
A week from today, we're gonna touch 70.
Oh. I'm ready.
Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. They are ready to serve you, whether it's your home or business. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
I learned something yesterday in the NFC Championship game. I didn't know that the officials could award a touchdown if a team keeps performing the same penalty.
Never seen it in my life.
Yeah,
I mean, I knew, like, I'm familiar with the story of the old boy at Alabama that had too much Bama in him that came off the bench and made the tackle. That was pretty obvious. They awarded that old cat for Rice a touchdown.
Because he was going to score without the tackle. I'm like, that makes sense.
That's not a consistent penalty. Yeah. That's like a dude coming off the bench and making it. That's pretty obvious. But
now we're at the goal line.
We're at the goal line.
If you missed it, goal line.
Philly's, the brotherly shove. Yeah. Philadelphia is going to run the controversial brotherly shove play that a lot of people say needs to be outlawed. And Luvu, who had an incredible game, Washington linebacker.
He's had a great season.
Yeah, he had an incredible game. And he continues to try to time the snap up and leap over the line of scrimmage to try to hit Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
But he's not timing the snap up, and he's offsides every time, which really didn't hurt Washington. I actually was sitting there thinking this is a pretty smart strategy. It's only moving at half the distance each time. And they're already on the one.
You can't get any closer, Brown.
Yeah.
So my question would be to the NFL at this point, and I do believe that sequence will lead to this being outlawed, that formation will lead to it being outlawed.
By the way, Philly was trying to draw them off sides when they were on the inch-yard line. What else can you get out of this?
Luvu was trying to time the snap out. And see, that's why I thought it was such a genius. I was like, either one of two things is going to happen. Either, number one, he's going to time it out, and he's going to pop Jalen Hurts right at the right time, and the ball may come out. Or, number two, they're going to hold it at the line so long, Philadelphia is going to jump and it's going to move it back. So I was like, this is a really smart strategy, actually.
That's right. And so why at some point can I not continue to try to time it up and you're going to award or reward a touchdown to the other team? What am I supposed to do? Because it's already at the one. The rule is set up to where the way you're able to push and line up in that diamond or arrowhead formation and push the player across, that there's no way we can stop it from the 1 yard line.
Brought it up on the broadcast, the longest second down play in NFL history. I guess, it gets to a point where you're like, holy heck, I mean, how long is this going to take us?
Yeah.
We continue to have this one down that goes back and forth.
I mean, it was hurting the Commanders because the clock was running.
Well, I was interested because, we've got these player props on our big board that we were going through. Like, if you reward the touchdown, who do you reward it to?
Yeah. It would be a team score.
That's true, a team score. Jalen Hurts, I guess, would be the obvious, but I don't know how you do that.
I've never seen it happen in history.
I've never heard of that in my life. Nope. When Pereira first said it, I was like, are you kidding me? And then the ref comes over the mic and says, Washington has been warned that we could award a touchdown.
Yeah.
I was like, I did not know that rule existed.
But then they jumped off sides in a normal situation. A lineman did it, not trying to jump over. And he said it again, if they continue with this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, they're just playing football now in an impossible situation. Am I supposed to just let them score?
I know. I really thought it was a pretty interesting strategy because I thought either one of two things. Luvu's going to finally time this out right, or Philadelphia is going to bark at the line trying to get him to jump, and they're going to jump, and now it's going to be second goal from the 5.
Jalen Hurts and the Eagles had a really good passing game. It's easy when you've got a really good run game. Here's Jalen Hurts, the one-time Oklahoma and Alabama quarterback who's on his way back to the Super Bowl.
You said throughout the season that, when you guys need the passing game, it'll be there. It was there today. What made it work so well?
Well, I think we need to change our approach to all of this. I don't play the game for stats. I don't play the game for numbers, any statistical approval from anyone else. And I understand that everyone has a preconceived notion on how they want it to look or how they expect it to look. And I told you guys that winning and success is defined by that particular individual, and it's all relative to the person. And what I define it as is winning. And so the number one goal is always to come out here and win.
Yeah, look, it is all about winning. And look, everybody in that locker room wants to win a championship. They tasted, a good majority of them, defeat in this setting a couple of years ago against Kansas City. The most excited it's got to be Saquon, coming from what has become an awful organization over the last few years in division to Philadelphia. Still is amazing that they weren't able to keep that guy and they let him go in division. But he's got to be the most excited about this. But you've also got to keep A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith, really good options, somewhat happy. And you got them involved early yesterday. It was all about running the football, 36 carries, 229 yards and 7 touchdowns. But A.J. still had 6 grabs, Devontae had 4, and Goddard had 7. So those guys were still in the mix.
And their defensive line is so disruptive. To give them a fighting chance against the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, it's a really good team. Speaking of them, here's Patrick Mahomes on reaching their 3rd straight Super Bowl. They've already won 3, right? This is his chance for his 4th ring. So they've
4th in 5 years.
Yeah, in fact,
4th in 6 years.
7 years as a starter. This will be his 5th Super Bowl, 5th trip to the Super Bowl, and he's lost twice in the AFC Championship game in overtime. So he's either lost in overtime in the AFC Championship game, or he's been to the Super Bowl in his 7 years of the starter.
And it was crazy. Like that Cincinnati team. And I remember this well because it was the year the Rams won the Super Bowl in 21. But you guys remember they opened up the playoffs playing Tennessee in Nashville.
Yep. And
they played the Raiders and then Tennessee. So they played the Raiders. They gave up like 7 or 8 sacks. They played Tennessee. I think they gave up 9 sacks.
Yep.
And when they were going into Arrowhead, there was no way, as good as Burrow was, and that was his 2nd year as a starting quarterback, there was no way they were going to be able to go in there and get this win. And for Cincinnati to find a way to walk that off. And then the one before that was 2018 when Brady miraculously took that game to overtime. And remember the offsides where the game was over. And I think it was on Chris Jones, was it not? Or I forgot who the offsides was on.
No, it was on D Ford, the former.
It was on D Ford.
Yeah.
It was on D Ford, but without that offsides, game's over.
Game's over.
So
there
I mean,
too.
he has come so close to going to 7 consecutive Super Bowls, which is insane.
It is absolutely insane. He's on his way to his 3rd straight. Here's Patrick Mahomes.
It's just so hard to get to the Super Bowl, and I don't take it for granted. And to be able to do it again at Arrowhead was special. I mean, last year it was awesome. You get there and you win it, but you're at a different stadium. And then being able to win it at Arrowhead, and then you get that trophy on that stage, and you look around, and there's not a seat empty. It is a special place, and I'm glad that I get to be a part of Chiefs Kingdom and here in Kansas City because these moments that I'll have for the rest of my life.
He says it's not easy. They get there every year. Before that, it was the Patriots getting there, it seemed like every year. And this was my point I was going to make when my buddy Scott Banks had got thrown out of his house last week because he was cheering so hard against the Chiefs. He was like, I have never had New England fatigue like I've got Kansas City fatigue. And I think there's a lot that plays into that because you had Tom Brady, you had Belichick, and you had this evil empire. But I think the Taylor Swift thing rubs people wrong. I think Kelsey rubs people wrong. I think Mahomes, now that he's gotten so good, rubs people wrong.
But this is what Andy Reid did in Philadelphia, too. Let's don't forget. I mean, this 5
he couldn't close the deal, though.
Yeah, but 5 NFC championship games. So he's going to 7 with Mahomes now, right? I mean, 12 conference championship games. Or is it 5 with Mahomes, whatever it is, 10 conference championships?
He's been to 7 years starting at least to the championship games every year.
Yeah, I mean, this is all Andy Reid's ever done is coaching championship games. It's. I mean, I know Mahomes is great, but man, at some point you just got to look and say Andy Reid has done this time and time and time and time again. He's finally figured out how to close the deal. He couldn't do that in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, Belichick, Brady, or Mahomes and Reid. I mean, what's going to end up being the better combination?
And by the way, check on your Buffalo friends today. We told you a lot of bad stats. This is the worst one. Buffalo becomes the only NFL team ever to win a playoff game 5 years in a row without making it to a Super Bowl. So 5 years in a row, they've actually won a playoff game and have not made it to a Super Bowl.
Only Buffalo, man.
Buffalo.
That's such a jinx franchise.
Only Buffalo.
You hate it, don't you?
It killed me, man. Killed me to watch Chiefs win that game. I think I'm one of the few people that was pulling for the Chiefs yesterday based on social media.
Yeah, I was cheering for the Bills.
I know you were.
But I had Chiefs at mybookie.ag, but I was cheering for the Bills.
So you were cheering against your money.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I don't bet enough money. I don't bet enough money for it to matter. All right. Our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama will help you stay on top of your health as we move a little older, guys, from your 20s to your 30s and so forth down the line. 205-930-0920 is the phone number there. UrologyCentersAlabama.com. All your urological needs, prostate health, kidney stones, vasectomies, anything else, they are there for you. There are 16 locations in the great state of Alabama. Go and check it out online at UrologyCentersAlabama.com.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, January 31st through February 2nd at the BJCC with customs, classics, hot rods, and more. Check out the exotic lineup in the Supercar South Hall, sponsored by Mob Inc. And don't miss the BMX stunt team performing outrageous stunts live. Friday only meet all elite wrestler Christian Cage. Saturday it's Bill Carlton from Texas Metal. And Sunday meet Oscar from The Office. Bring the kids for free Hot Wheels racing, costume characters, rides, and more. Get discount tickets at all O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Details at worldofwheels.net.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
There's no off-season at covercrimson.com. Sign up now and get daily shows plus behind-the-scenes intel that will keep your Alabama fandom rolling all the way up until kickoff. Follow Cover Crimson on all social platforms and sign up today at covercrimson.com. Our wonderful friends at Coca-Cola, Diet Coke, Coke Zero, as we roll into another year here, getting ready for the fun summertime. I'm ready for spring and summer already. I'm over this cold.
You think?
Yeah.
I mean, this has literally been a month. I can't remember it being this cold for this long.
It is. I tell people often ask me that don't live around here that I know because of golf are like, how many days do you have to miss golf in Alabama? And I always tell them, I'm like, there's almost never a stretch where you can't play at least once during that week.
Yeah.
And
at least twice a month.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a good 2 or 3 weeks where you can't even get out there and play, and that does not compute for me, man.
Hey, by the way, happened Friday. Auburn Basketball pulled out of the Battle of Atlantis next year, and they are going to go play in that Players Era tournament that Alabama played in this year in Vegas. And I think I read this correctly. All the teams that played in it last year are going to go back again this year.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
Why would you not?
Get $1 million, and then you play for another $1 million. And they're adding other teams, including Auburn. I think the field right now is at 17 teams.
So Alabama and Auburn both back in it, the Players Era, or Alabama back in it and Auburn now in it.
Yeah. And now, not everybody will have to play everybody, so there's a chance that Alabama and Auburn will be out there. And you can't do an 18-team bracket to where you will have a champion at the end, I don't guess.
I mean, is there a possibility one day that we get I'm just throwing it out there, Nike, Rocket Mortgage, where they pay $30 million and they have their own tournament at the end of the season.
That's what I think is.
Because if I had my choice as a player, look, winning an NCAA tournament would be great, but if we can win $30 million and dice it up between us.
I think that's kind of what they're dipping their toe in right here, is to one day maybe have that as. Because if the big teams, the big schools pull away from the NCAA, that does affect the NCAA tournament. And if you had somebody who's like, we got a little product right over here, it's not going to be the same thing, but you're going to get a lot more money from us.
Oh, I guarantee you. I mean, what kind of billions are we talking about that the NCAA makes right now in the tournament?
I think it's $2.2 billion a year, or is that just what they're?
I think that's their overall CBS contract.
That's just their CBS contract.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I think whoever invested, and I just threw a random $30 million out there, but whoever invested whatever that money would be well worth it.
I'm not old enough to remember because it's always been the NCAA tournament's been the main tournament in my lifetime, but there was a time in our country that the National Invitational Tournament, the NIT, was bigger than the NCAA tournament because you went to New York to play it, and
it's dead.
I think that was where it was an invitation and you got paid to go play. I don't know if obviously the players did not, but the schools did.
Yeah,
and I think that was when it was more money to go play in the NIT than it was in the NCAA. So maybe it'll go full circle back to that. Show being brought to you in part, one more thing here, by Johnson RV Center, johnsonrvcenter.com. Before we get to trash, tell us about those great folks.
Hey, man, they are fantastic folks, to your point. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, and the RV shows are coming up. How about Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Von Braun Center in Huntsville, 10 to 7 Friday, 10 to 7 Saturday, and 10 to 5 on Sunday. Show incentives like deep discounted pricing, special financing rates, gift cards to use in the camp store. And then they'll be coming to the BJCC Valentine's Day, the 14th through the 16th. Hey, what a great Valentine's gift, right? Everything is good at all the locations as well. So if you can't make it, go look at the locations. They're off I-65. How about the Wolf Pup 16 LP, just $129 a month with approved credit? It's all right there at Johnston RV Center. Don't forget the show at Von Braun, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, starting at 10 o'clock every day with Johnston RV Center.
Hey, not every ticket's a tough one to get into. I give you Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, #1 Auburn in town. Tough ticket to get into?
Probably no.
Nope. SeatGeek today, $6, $7 to get in. Section 313, row 6, seats 1 through 2.
Is that going to be a little bit different when Auburn's in Tuscaloosa? I had somebody else say, hey, man, is there any way you can get me some Auburn, Alabama tickets?
Yeah,
no.
February 15th is that date, by the way, coming up that weekend at Johnson RV's at Birmingham, and the day after Thanksgiving, February 15th, that Saturday. In Tuscaloosa.
Can't get in for $6.
Can't get in for $6. Can't park for $6. Well, I think you park for free at Bama Basketball.
Yeah, you'll have a lot of Auburn fans take up that deal.
Yeah.
And
in Baton Rouge.
Oh, in Baton Rouge, heck yeah.
$6. And by the way, as we get ready for trash tonight, in prime time this time, not a 4 o'clock in the afternoon game, South Carolina, who beat LSU on Friday in the afternoon, when it was 2 versus 5. It's 2 versus 17 tonight. South Carolina is at Tennessee in women's basketball. What makes this interesting is the return of head coach Kim Cardwell. She was out on maternity leave, gave birth to her first child. You know how long ago she gave birth to her first child? 1 week ago today, and she's back coaching tonight. On the sidelines.
Didn't take advantage of that maternity leave.
She did not.
That's a lot to ask.
Big game, South Carolina coming to town. It's like, here you go, Doc. Let's go. Run the zone. Run the zone.
I mean, there's a lot that you still have to do a week after birth.
Oh, yes.
My gosh, I can't imagine that.
But she is out there coaching for the Lady Vols tonight. Keep an eye on that. It's trash time. Tyler, you got something for us?
Dale Decker. Father of 2, Dale Decker, suffers from a rare and seemingly incurable condition that leads to him suffering up to 100 unwanted orgasms a day.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Hey, our friends at Mortgage Right want to remind you, it is buying season always. They are here to help. Veteran founded here in Birmingham, offer loans throughout the country. While the area they serve may have grown, their commitment to Birmingham and veterans has not changed. Before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You get more information by going to their website. Or if you're in Birmingham, you can call that Highway 280 office, 205-900-7200, mortgageright.com, NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. I was cold calling a random client a couple of weeks ago, and they had their lunch delivered in the middle of me waiting to meet with them.
Oh, was it like a buffet lunch, or they had specially ordered?
Popeye's Chicken, DoorDash.
Oh, God, I would love that.
And I'm about to get to a Popeye story, but I was talking to him, and I was like, I've never had the chicken sandwich. And he was like, and I just saw the bag, and he's like, it's what's in here. Like, I had never had it. Now I'm addicted to it. I thought that had kind of gone away.
Yeah, you remember they were lined up around the block to get that thing when it first came out, and you couldn't find a Popeye's chicken.
How about this collaboration?
I thought it was only okay.
Yeah, I mean, I that's what I heard. People were like, yeah, it's a chicken sandwich. Once I finally got there.
Tequila brand Don Julio and fried chicken chain Popeyes have something coming up for customers. The brands took to Instagram to tease an announcement. Now, in a video that lasts only a few seconds, DJ can be seen spinning records. While there isn't any clarity yet on what is in store, DJ is seen wearing streetwear-styled sweatshirt, features both Popeye's logo and Don Julio's insignia.
Huh. You cannot serve Don Julio at Popeyes, right? There's no way they could do that.
No.
Yeah.
Cannot do that.
Tequila-infused chicken.
I'd try it.
Now, they said the quote, it's captioned, the kitchen is heating up for the big game party, 131-25. Now, while the video has people guessing what the collaboration means, the brand's currently keeping the information under wraps, leading to plenty of speculation on social media. Now, the teaser announcement comes before the launch of the Super Bowl in New Orleans, which is also, by the way, the home of Popeyes. It remains to be seen if the new collaboration is linked to the Super Bowl. So we shall see, but I don't know. I mean,
Morgan,
I like tequila. I like fried chicken.
Morgan went the other way from you. Chicken-flavored tequila instead of tequila-infused chicken.
I don't think you'd. I think you'd rather have tequila
better
infused.
tasting tequila if it tasted like Popeye's chicken.
I don't hate tequila, so I'd say no.
I don't like my food to taste like alcohol, and I don't like my alcohol to taste like food.
I'm with you 100% on this.
Yeah, I like they pair well together, but I don't want it to be infused with.
It's weird. I kind of get strangely hooked into things that are quote unquote beer battered, especially if they go like in depth on the beer. Like it's not just beer battered; it was beer battered. But I never taste.
What was the
beer
airplane chicken where you cook the beer inside of it?
Oh, I've done that before,
Yeah.
like beer butt chicken.
Yeah.
I actually did it, Lance, with a Thanksgiving turkey one time, and people raved about the turkey. Now, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here. I'm just telling you facts. People raved about how good the turkey was, how moist it was. It's a ceramic thing. I've still got it, and I put like IPA, a couple IPAs in it, and some other things, and you put the turkey's butt right down on there and sit it on the smoker and let her go. That's a good turkey, man.
You guys think Buc-ee's makes some money?
Hand over fist.
They are now suing a smaller North Texas gas station chain, claiming it's infringing on the copyright for the Buc-ee's beaver logo.
Yeah, one's a dog.
It's a dog. Yeah, I don't see it.
I mean,
one's a dog with a cape and no teeth.
Yeah, one's
no
a
hat.
Beaver in a hat.
I mean, this is Bush League from Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
Lawsuit filed by Buc-ee's in U.S. District Court claims that Superfuel's logo is too similar to the Buc-ee's beaver.
It's not similar at all.
Yeah, one's a yellow circle, one's a blue circle.
Yeah.
One's basically a wonder dog, one's a buck-toothed beaver.
Yeah, boy, if I'm on this jury, we are not there long.
Yeah.
It says the suit also notes similar expression and coloring. I'll give you the coloring, although it really is just the color of the animal with a little red in there. I mean, you've got a yellow background and a blue background.
But look, I mean, it's tanned, it's white.
Well, they're saying a similar expression from the animal. I mean, they're smiling. What are they supposed to be frowning?
Yeah. And one's looking at me, the dog's looking at me, the beaver's looking up into the sun.
Yeah, looking at God.
Yeah.
Super is blue, Fuels is red, but I mean, you can't. I mean, McDonald's could go to Buc-ee's and say, hey, our signs are red and yellow. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Buc-ee's does this all the time, though. I mean, they have historically gone after just any sort of semblance whatsoever. And typically, they end up crushing their competition.
Well, I bet. I mean, I'm going to say that they've got, attorneys, on end that they can go after whoever they want. I did not know this about Buc-ee's. This is disappointing.
It
really is.
Superfuel's just trying to make a buck.
Now, the lawsuit calls for a permanent injunction to stop Superfuels from using the dog logo, for Superfuels to pay Buc-ee's for all, quote, ill-gotten gains and destruction of all signs, packages, and other materials with the logo. By the way, there's only 3 locations of Superfuels, 2 in Dallas and 1 in Irving.
Yeah. I would say this. As just
Piss
my
on
eyes,
Buc-ee's.
I look at Buc-ee's. That looks like Buckeyes to me. Can Ohio State serve them? Sue them. And by the way, Oregon State Beavers, they've got a beaver. They have the rights to use the beavers.
Yeah, I mean, their beaver's got 2 teeth like Bucky.
That's correct.
Yep.
Hey, is Milton a big Superman guy?
Yes.
Did you see the trailer for that Superman that they showed during the football game yesterday? God,
saw
that
the TV spot.
looks awful.
Yeah, it looks in line with most Superman movies. Terrible.
He looked dead.
It was not a great shot of him close up flying through what looks like the Fortress of Solitude. Not a great shot. He looked cross-eyed.
Yeah, it looked terrible. That movie, that did not make me want to see a Superman movie. I'm going to tell you that.
Was he not in a fetal position at one point, laying on the ground?
Yeah.
He was, but if you watch the full trailer, it's a really strong trailer.
Okay.
So this is a bad TV spot.
I finally saw Nosferatu over the weekend. These guys, I thought the cinematography, the way that he did that film was fantastic.
Perfect.
These guys would absolutely despise it. I think you guys would tap out 5 minutes in.
Nosferatu is the person that's in the pyramids?
That is correct, yes.
Exactly right.
Nefertiti.
That's Nefertiti.
Nosferatu. In a video posted to social media, 2 people appeared to be embroiled in a scuffle over Pokemon cards sold at an L.A. area Costco.
Oh, the people's elbow right there on his face.
Now, the fight captured on a video by ex-user Disguised Toast unfolded January 16th at a Costco in Atwater Village, the L.A. Times reported. In the footage, crowd of around a dozen people clamoring to get some boxes, presumably where the collectible card games were being held, when 2 adult men who seemed to be caught in a tug of war over some of the cards swung into the frame. Now, one of the men, you see the guy wearing the green jacket, ends up with his arms around the other bearded man wearing glasses and a ball cap. During the awkward struggle, at least one store employee, as well as several nearby, watched the ordeal while others try to make their way around the tussle. Just moments into the fight, young woman approaches the duo yelling, quote, "Stop, let go." It's unclear if she was related to one of the men and was perhaps concerned for their safety, or if she was just another customer at the store. Now, increasingly frustrated by the situation, the bearded gentleman throws a hard elbow that appears to land in the face of the gentleman in the green jacket. "Get the F off me, bro," the bearded man yells. After the blow to the face, at least one person approaches the pair and suggests they calm down, with someone in the background saying, "Just call the police department, call the PD."
You got to call the PD. It's Pokemon cards.
It's highly unlikely that we ever get to this, but if we are forced to fight for food and water in this country, do you know how bad it's going to be? I mean, this is a fight over Pokemon cards.
Dude,
Pokemon cards.
I heard as an early kid, if we ever go off the grid,
yeah, it's over with.
Yeah,
we don't survive that.
I mean, you saw it Katrina a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's never going to be nationwide. We're never going to devolve to that. But, I mean, they're fighting over Pokemon cards, guys.
Yeah.
So this
2 grown men.
Yes, this set is apparently highly sought after.
Well,
and
there's 1,000 of them on that cart right there.
Yeah, they're doing well on the resale market. They keep restocking them every morning. See,
Yeah.
these guys showed up at 5 a.m.
Okay,
to
so
get the
Tyler, you
first
buy
cards.
$45 for this set. How much can you flip it for?
I don't know how much you could flip this one for, but it's apparently enough where people are going crazy.
So
over it.
basically, these
And
guys don't have a
stores
job.
are
They're just
limiting
flipping
it.
Pokemon.
It's a limit of 2 per member, Tyler.
It's a lot of work, man.
If I flip it for 100, is it worth the trouble?
Probably not to take that elbow to the face.
No.
I mean, it could be.
And
Pay
not
45, you can only get 2.
Not to show up at 5 in the morning and wait in line for Costco to
Yeah, I don't
open.
think people realize that this is having a job. Like, if you're going to different Costco's to flip this
Yeah,
$44.99
that's-
product around, I mean, you got to get there early. You're having to deal with a bunch of idiots.
That's
Like,
right.
Just get a job.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit easier.
This is a whole set of cards. You have some cards that are worth hundreds and thousands and even more than that. So
There's no guarantee it's on the inside, though, right?
no, but if you buy 10 of them, you'll probably get at least something worth something.
Do you have Pokemon cards?
I do not. I had maybe 3 binders full of them that I gave to my little cousins, and I haven't had them since.
Okay.
And your little cousin sold them for thousands of dollars. You're like, crap.
No, I imagine he probably lost them, and there were some worth some money.
Yeah.
If I had kept them,
We've got these kind of containers, and Carter's got maybe 3 these size containers full of them.
Have you ever seen if they're worth anything? Tyler just said thousands of dollars.
They're his. I could ask him if
They're
we could run through them.
Whose house are they in? Jeff?
Yeah.
They're
Gotcha.
mine. But
Okay.
they're his. I'm not.
I mean, you could split them with him.
I'm not going to be I don't even know what I can call myself now. A person that gives things and takes them back. I know what we called
That's
him.
an Indian giver.
I know what we called him when I was a kid.
Are we not supposed to say Indian giver?
I think it's called a Washington commander.
Yeah. I'm not going to be a commander giver. Yeah.
Oh, I bet he would be pumped if you went. I know you're building a dynasty right now, but if you went and you sold these Pokemon cards online,
You came and gave him cash?
and you were like, "Hey, I got $11,000 to give you,"
Yeah.
I bet he would never question anything you've done.
First thing he'd be is like, well, how much did you keep? That'd be the first thing.
I'm assuming this is true in the chat room. Hugh says his stepson pays $250 a month for climate-controlled storage for his Star Wars figurines from the past 8 years.
Well, I don't have a problem with that nearly as much as the second half of that comment.
Well, I was going to air Hughes.
Wait, so a figurine is like the climate's going to bother that?
Well, it could get hot enough in one of those things in the summer.
I can understand a bottle of wine. I didn't realize a figurine.
Well, you've seen an insurance commercial where that guy has the wax figure he's made of himself in the docks in San Francisco.
I get wax.
Starts melting away.
Yeah. But I mean, like Tyler said, humidity or it can make it rust and things like that. I mean, if you're trying to preserve it, climate control probably would be worth it.
So I know you got burned on a order out of China a couple of weeks ago with your Tampa Bay.
I would love for you to wear it. You've described it. I can't even picture it.
Do you itch when you wear it?
No,
you break out in hives?
I wear a T-shirt underneath it.
Long sleeves?
Uh-huh.
Well, it's going to be hot, too. Long sleeve shirts.
Sleep naked in that thing tonight and see what happens.
Wow.
No. I may wear it. I may wear it tomorrow.
Okay. In November, a Savannah man did what hundreds of millions of Americans do every year. He bought something online, but Sylvester Franklin did not get what he paid for. Now, Franklin decided it was time to get some new tools, so he logged on to AliExpress, ordered a drill. Quote, "They sent this to me. A picture is what they sent me," according to Franklin. So he buys that drill, and they send him a picture.
I have seen this from Temu, I believe it is.
Temu's real bad.
Yeah, they're bad about doing this. You don't necessarily get the somebody ordered a door decoration and they sent a photo of the door with the decoration on it. I saw that on TikTok.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, Franklin ordered a drill from AliExpress, and what he got was that printed photo, but it gets worse. Quote, "I paid $22.47 for a pressure washer, and this is what I get. It's a screw."
A screw?
He literally got a screw and then got screwed.
Yeah.
Franklin has been going back and forth with AliExpress since he ordered the items back in November. Still has not received a refund. Investigators from WTOC started looking into AliExpress. They found the company, subsidiary of Alibaba, sometimes referred to as the Amazon of China. Never heard that. No,
We're the Amazon of China.
2021, the Office of the United States Trade Representation added that AliExpress to its list of notorious markets for counterfeiting and piracy. Website has a D rating from the Better Business Bureau, and in 2024, State of Georgia's Consumer Protection Division received 3 complaints against the company.
I mean, hell, what do you have to do to get an F? If you're sending a photo of things, what do you have to do to get an F from the Better Business Bureau? You got to draw blood?
I would agree with you if that only gets me that letter grade.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pictures don't even work for an OnlyFans, right?
Yeah. No. And that's trash, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Hey, look, if you are looking for your final home or your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right one-stop shop, 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com.
Champy's Chicken as well. Final dash to the end here. Dash for some great lunch and dinner. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go see Sterling. Great, wonderful Southern fried chicken. In-house made desserts. Don't forget the great appetizer to start with, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. How about that Conecuh sausage, pickle, and cheese plate? Good eating always at Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Carnell Tate says he's coming back to Ohio State. Rumors of him hitting the portal. Not true. Not going to take any offers.
Well, if you get Jeremiah Smith not to take an offer anywhere, that's your best receiving duo by far coming back next year in college football. Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate.
Yeah, and with Abuka and Smith this year it was.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. How about this? Florida has hired former Alabama DB Vinny Sunseri as co-defensive coordinator and safeties coach. Pretty quick rise.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Leaves Jacksonville State, but he just a few years ago when I was last year doing local TV, he had sat on the set with me at CBS 42 after games.
Yeah.
And now he's coaching the SEC as a co-DC.
I remember when Jack State hired him under Charles Kelly, I was telling someone, they're like, God, Coach Sunseri's still doing it. I was like, no, this is the son.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, how quick did he rise? Because Tino's in coaching as well.
Yeah, didn't he take the OC job out west?
Just recently.
Yeah.
Wasn't at USC, though, was
No.
it?
I'm trying to remember where it was. Here, I'll look him up. But yeah, Tino.
Was it UCLA?
I didn't think so.
It seemed like he went out west.
He did go out west.
From Pittsburgh.
Yeah, from Pittsburgh. Yeah, it's UCLA. Yeah, he's at UCLA.
Yeah.
That Sinceri family, I mean, it's a well-respected. Sal had a job all the time. He was never without a job, Sal Sinceri, in the NFL and college. It's a very well-respected family in coaching.
Cliff Kingsbury is expected to be the Saints head coach now that the Commanders season is over with. It's the only opening left. Schottenheimer got hired by the Cowboys, introduced today. Kingsbury to the Saints would do what for you guys?
Be a perfect fit. Marriage made in heaven.
You're not a fan of either?
Yeah. I mean, look, that organization is going to be down for a while, and Kingsbury's a coach that's never won anything on any level.
I mean, Lance is right. Cliff Kingsbury feels like he keeps falling up.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was super average at Texas Tech. You always say he couldn't win with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback.
With maybe the most talented quarterback we've ever seen.
Super average, not even average as the Arizona coach. Bad as the Arizona coach, right?
Yeah, look, he put Jaden Daniels in really good situations this year, but I wouldn't be excited if I'm a Steelers fan.
No.
Or a Saints fan.
Especially when I thought I might get Joe Brady. I'd far rather have Joe Brady.
We've got an audience. I just had somebody text me. They're at Super Fuels right now in Texas.
Are you serious?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Tell them donate to the legal fund.
Tell them we support them.
That's right.
We're Super Fuels. By the way, Senior Bowl week down in Mobile. Cam Ward's not committed to play. Neither Shador. Neither are expected to throw at the Combine. Keep an eye at the Senior Bowl. See who's pops this week down in Mobile. We're back with you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. Don't forget, a new Basketball Show podcast is out on all video platforms. God bless you, and God bless America.